Yo, what is up, guys? Hope everyone is doing well tonight. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day, night, whatever time it is for you. West Coast, East Coast, Central Time. Um, Football's here this weekend. Finally, we have another game. And obviously, you have 3 games left to the schedule, man. This is for the division next week, in a couple days. And, we have this is it. You know what I mean? So, really, after, you win this game on Sunday, you win the division. You already have a playoff berth already locked up. And pretty much, you go through 2 more games. You kind of sit back and see, can the Eagles get this number 1 seed? Whether we get it or not, I'm not going to care because I feel like this team will be great regardless. Having that extra week of rest would be great. Would be awesome. So, well rested Eagles team is good. The Eagles are dealing with some injuries, and by this time of the season, okay, everybody's dealing with something. Nobody's off the injury report. Everybody is dealing with some type of injury of some sort. Um, so yeah, this is where we're at right now. We're gonna do a live call-in for this show tonight, to get everybody's, see what everybody's thinking of going to this Washington game, what they think, what everyone thinks of the number 1 seed. Will the Eagles get it? Obviously, we have to watch out for Minnesota as well. Minnesota has to lose a game too, so it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a tough road. You're hoping that somebody is gonna stumble here when it comes to that. So you're hoping to God something's gonna happen there. So, well, let me say hi to everybody in the chat. What's going on, Maurice? We got Gio. We got sports and music. What's going on, man? Philly flyover. What's going on, dude? This fucking new chat thing, I have to change it. I have to try to update it because it's not working and it gets all glitchy as hell for some weird reason. What's going on, Lit City? What's going on, man? Wow, is this thing like totally fried? I don't even know if it's fried. Oh, there we go. Okay. Michael says, "Sup, Joe? I've been watching you in Philly 500 since 2017. We won the Super Bowl. Now it's become tradition." Yes, I appreciate it. We appreciate it. You know that. You know that. The more the merrier, man. We're all going through this together. We got Lit City. We got Anton Baroda. What's going on, man? So yeah, this is gonna be a really big week. Big week. We got first super of the day. We got Ultra Granddad. What's going on, man? With the super chat says, Joey, thanks for the mid-morning weekday content. 15 minutes is perfect length of time or for a lunch break. Watch. Reason takes by a common man. Dude, I usually schedule. Sometimes I'm up doing these videos at 3 a.m. Sometimes I schedule them. Most of the time I'm up at 3 a.m. doing these videos. So when I upload something at 3, 4 in the morning, I'm usually up at that time. So, hey, if it's your early morning coffee type news, lunch break type news, that's fantastically great. And that's awesome. So I appreciate it. A lot of people do appreciate the early morning videos. And I kind of like to put my videos out really early in the day. So, you know what I mean? And do our thing. So that's where we're at. I appreciate it so much, Ultra, for the super. And your kind words means a lot. Jordan, what's going on, man? Martha says, thanks to the Commanders for giving us bulletin board material. Yeah, Brian Robinson Jr., man, he's saying that the Washington Commanders are the better team. Unreal, man. I don't know what they think I don't even think they have Austin Eikler in this game, do they? No Austin Eikler? Look, every time, ever since the Eagles beat them, and then week after week, it's Jaden Daniels this and Jaden Daniels that. Bro, they have been killing these other. They didn't really do much against the Saints. The Saints actually had a really good defense last week. They had like 8 sacks on Jaden Daniels, bro. But that offense, they literally beat a backup quarterback by 1 point. You know what I mean? I don't know. 1 point against the Saints, man. I'm not that type of dude. I go week to week with some of these scores, but Washington hasn't beat a team over 500 this season. They haven't beat a good team this year. They haven't, not once. They will beat on these lesser teams, and then they come out against the Eagles the second time around. Will they be better? Yeah, maybe. Maybe Jaden Daniels will be a little bit better now, but they they got beaten by us. They got beaten by the Cowboys. It put them in it put them in literally 3 games behind us for the division. So most likely they'll probably be the 7th seed. And potentially the Eagles could be facing Washington again a 3rd time in a row in the playoffs. So anything's possible. Donzel Huff could be big for us. Dude apparently plays better in a 5-point stance. I think it's a 5-point. Yeah, technically, right? A 4-point stance. Yeah, Bryce Huff is on the practice window now. So we have to just let this thing go at Bryce Huff. We have to just don't worry about what he's getting paid. He's not living up to this year. He's not living up to what he's supposed to be. But what he could live up to is making a big play in the playoffs. Like, I feel like Bryce Huff is going to make that big play, and he's going to be, he's not going to be worthy of the contract. Maybe by next year, maybe another offseason under his belt, because he is definitely not a good signing right now. Okay? But I think if we take everything out of it, we look at it and say, you know what? Let's just see where it goes. Let's just let him be in this rotation and just see what he does. And that's where I'm kind of at right now with the entire situation. By the way, this live stream is sponsored by BetUS, so definitely check it out if you guys have not. So I appreciate them for sponsoring, no doubt. Okay? Now we're going to do a call-in, obviously. How do you guys feel about everything? I don't need to see – I'm not going to see you on video, just no cameras, just audio. That's all I'm doing for tonight. I'm not doing any video calls. So if anybody wants to join up into the StreamYard, I will not see you. I'll only hear you pretty much at this point. If you have, obviously, during these calls, if you want to say, like I said, if you're sending super chats or whatever, I'm not going to ignore them. I will put them up on the screen and all that stuff. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. We did a live call-in last Friday, and we'll do this again, see what happens. So let's do it up. So if you guys, I'm gonna try it like quick. We're gonna do like 2-3 minutes a person. So I'm gonna set timers for everybody, because I want everybody to have I don't want anybody to have a longer time than anybody else, just to make it fair. So it's gonna be like 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So let's do that. Hold on. Let me set my timer here. I'll do a stopwatch. I'll do that. It'll be a lot easier. So 3 minute timer on StreamYard. So hope everyone's having a good day, though. Hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone is getting ready for football this weekend. I mean, really, you're trying to knock Washington out, win the division, and then we really have to win these last 2 games. Obviously Saquon Barkley breaking the record. It's probably going to be between 135 to 140 something yards that he really has to get the next few games to break this 2,100. Eric Dickerson's record for rushing yards, all of that great stuff. So you're hoping he could do it. You're hoping that it could happen here. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. And we'll see we'll see what's going on. Let's see. Steely Games, I just know when we do have the verse Washington for a 3rd time after we sweep them in the season, I just know beating them 3 times won't be easy. Only happened 4 times in the NFC. Yeah, true. True. That is true. All right, we got our first guest right here. Let's do it up. Let's welcome Philly Flower. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. A huge fan. I just want to say appreciate you doing these call-ins, man. You do great content and whatnot.
I appreciate it, man. What's on your mind, man? What's been brewing now since you're going to the Washington game now? You got obviously 3 games left on your schedule. So what do you think about the first seed? Anything on your mind? Just let it out.
So, in my opinion, since we already faced the team before, and we've so far had the identity of a second half team, with it, there has been a couple games. We've looked good in the first half, but overall we've been more so a second half team. But I think in this individual game, since we already played Washington before,
Mm,
I think we'll blow them out because the run game will get going. Saquon, obviously he didn't have the biggest game last week, so I think he'll still have a monster game, things of that nature. Obviously, AJ, I believe he said, I'm playing for a reason, like I think he's gonna have a pretty good game, and then Jalen, I think he's gonna have consistency in the pass game and things of that nature. But if you don't mind me asking, I do have one question or
sure.
however the case. I don't want to take up too much
You're
time
fine.
or however the case, but overall, in your opinion, we all know Jalen Hurts isn't perfect, no quarterback's perfect, but in your opinion or however the case, where do you think Jalen's ranked as of right now, just this season?
This season, I mean, I think obviously I think Mahomes is better. Joe Burrow, I think, Josh Allen. I mean, I honestly think he's probably in the top 5 right now. I think he's moved up a lot better. And I think just because of that, I think last week proved a lot to me because of this passing game. Like, do you think it's a one game stint? Because we talked about Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, all the drama that was going around both of them. Can Jalen Hurts pass in this offense? Can he pass, period? I think he can. It's just that I think these long developing route combinations, these long developing plays, him holding onto the ball for too long has made this offense very bland, very dry at times. I think he's a top 5 quarterback, but I think, you know, I don't think he's a gunslinger. I think he's clutch in those big key moments, whether it's either with his, him with the ball in his hands, or it's going to be in the passing game or something like that. You always have to work for those big plays. I can respect that they haven't just thrown down the field 70 yards just to throw that big kill shot downfield just because they just want to get something, they want to get a big catch and then not have to work too much going downfield. But um, I feel like Hurts has gotten a lot better, and I'm hopefully saying to myself right now that last week wasn't just a one game stint in the passing game, just to prove a point that they could pass, but they'll never do it again.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. In my opinion, I think last week was a clutch showing by
Mm,
Jalen Hurts. Because like I think his style of game or however the case is more so take advantage of his team, like not in a bad way, but like take advantage of who you got. I mean, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I mean, those are two top 10 receivers. I mean, Smitty, he's at least number 8, number 9, and then
mm-hmm.
obviously AJ. I mean, I have him at number 3. I know. Tyreek hasn't had the best year, but I mean Justin Jefferson. I mean he's a beast and things of that nature. And then other than those two, I mean I can't name anyone else better than AJ. And then obviously Goddard when he's healthy, and then obviously Saquon. I mean if you have Saquon, I mean let him do his thing. I mean he's already got 1,700 yards already. So, but yeah, in my opinion, I just think it was like clutch and things of that nature because I think in like being a 4 year starter, I think he has like 7 or 8 game winning drives. I think so, something like that and
Mm-hmm.
different coaching every year. I mean, despite the 2 years of Shane, other than that, he's had different coaching every
Well,
single year. But
now I want to ask you last thing. What do you like? How do you feel about Nick Sirianni after all the drama? And really, really right now, how do you feel about Nick? Do you think he has control of this team? Has he been a lot better in your mind? Maybe you weren't a fan of him before. How do you feel about Nick?
prior, I'm not gonna lie, I was a Nick hater and whatnot. But I mean,
Right.
I mean, I don't know what he does or however the case, but one thing he does do or however is he does keep the team together. And you know, last year, he made some mistakes or however, but this year he's showing fair and square. Credit to him. He is taking the 3 points. He has adjusted mid-season or however the case, um, and things of that nature. So overall, as of right now, I mean, I'd give him like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Could be doing some things better. Had a slow start, made some idiotic play calls, quarterback sneaks. We can all agree on that. But 7 out of 10. I mean, 12-2. I mean, only 2 losses.
Mm,
I mean, I can't hate Nick too much. 12-2. I mean, 44 and what 19 as a head coach so far for the Eagles. I mean, as much I'm like, I wish he could help, or however on the field or help, be a quarterback guru. But I mean, he's a
mm-hmm.
team guy, and he's selfless and things of that nature. He's
Yeah.
he's stepping back for the most part because I know in some of your videos you said it looks like he still has hands on. I completely agree. But it looked like at least in these past few games, as we start to get some traction, it looks like he's stepped away.
That's good. No, that's really the only thing. Like him not like he got involved in the Jags game. He got involved in the Browns game. He got, maybe he got involved in that Panthers game. I don't know. Against the lesser, most statistical bad teams, he's been very involved. Like, oh, the analytics say that they're the worst team against the pass defensively. Let's just throw on them all day. Let me take the play calling this week. That's how I felt like it has been in the past. But I think um I didn't want to hear about him last year. I didn't want to hear him at the end of last year. I didn't want to hear him in the offseason this past offseason. I really tried to stay away from Nick as much as possible when it came to the press conferences. But, maybe he's growing on me a little bit that he's finally learning to, let the players play and make this offense simple for Hurts. And, I feel like we're going in a good direction. Hopefully we're there.
Yeah, it seems like he's learning to like go with the flow instead of like force things or however the case. Like
Yeah.
each game is different. If some games they're allowing short passes, we've seen moments. When Kellen Moore or whoever, whatever the case may be, whenever Jalen Hurts was getting it done, check downs to Saquon or
Yeah.
most recently Kenny Gainwell and things of that nature. So, it just looks like he's getting like more into like the flow or however the case is getting better.
Yeah, I agree, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. I got a lot of people in the background right now, but I appreciate you coming on and giving your take. It means a lot, man.
Heck yeah, man! Huge fan. I'll
Thanks.
go ahead and let them do that or however. But yeah, thank you so much and whatnot. You have a great rest of your
You
night.
too.
I'll be in the comments and
You
whatnot.
you too, Philly Flower. See you later, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Next, we got Anton. What's going on, man?
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
I'm just great. Man. We're feeling good this weekend. That's a great thing,
Oh man, yeah, it's almost Christmas. It's a good time, greatest time of the
right?
year, Just chilling, man, enjoying the holiday. Just finished work yesterday.
Nice.
It's all good, man. And the Eagles, man,
How you
Eagles
feeling?
are. You know what? It's funny because I've been on with Jacob and me and Xander have had some back and forth for the
Mm,
last few weeks. So I've clearly angered some members of our fan base by being so positive, even during the crisis that was after the Panthers game. But yeah, look, I think the whole time I've been very relaxed. I think mostly when it came into the beginning of this season, I had to see what this team was capable of, obviously, because we were coming off of the meltdown. But I think if you remove that meltdown from the end of last season, all you've seen with this team since really the Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts era, after obviously what the start in the beginning, but since then, right? All we do is win. Like we have a formula that we figure out how to win, and the team's got a winning mentality. And like as much as we like to panic and you talk about things, are we doing this right? Are we doing this wrong? Do we like the play calling? How's Jalen Hurts playing? The defense, all this and that. At the end of the day, remove all of that stuff. For me, the team just keeps winning, and I'm happy with that.
yeah. All really wanted was like them to look different from last year. In a case of like last year, we didn't score more. We didn't have a 30+ point game last season. We didn't dominate a lot of teams. Like it was ugly game after ugly game after ugly game. Kind of the same thing how
Right.
the kind of same thing on how the Chiefs are playing this year and getting away with it. Except the refs are helping them a lot more these games, obviously. But um, I think they've totally dominated this season. And I think after that Panthers game, I felt like we lost that game because everybody was telling me like such bad things that this team was starting to fall apart. And after one really bad loss against a statistically bad team that's played well the last couple weeks, like the sky was falling. And
Right, but you just said the word loss. Like we didn't lose the game.
right, right,
Like,
right.
look, that's kind of the way I felt though, Joey. Like, to be honest, we ended up winning the ball game, and I was listening in like to so many different shows and calling shows similar to this, and it was like person after person after person, and oh, Jalen Hurts, do we need to go draft another quarterback this year? Like our quarterback can't throw over 100. He's so flawed. What's the problem? We need to fix the problem. And I'm like, what is the problem? We are one win away from our franchise record for consecutive
Mm,
victories. And for me, like you're allowed to have like the thing is, I feel like you put it into perspective. Like if you all the other teams around the league all have probably worse problems than us. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like you've seen like watch on Red Zone, you see some of the best teams get themselves into some sticky situations. And you're like, ooh, okay. You tune in, you're like, well, let's see what happens, how this game ends. And you've seen it with everyone. You've seen Kansas City. You saw it with Detroit, not even less than a week before that when on Thanksgiving. Like there are so many of these games where you're like, oh, okay, the underdog is making this one interesting here. And just because we ended up in a fist fight, like here's the truth: Carolina we're done for the season. They have nothing on the
Mm-hmm.
line. This is kind of for me what I'm concerned a little bit about the Cowboys next week, because I feel like if the Cowboys are out of contention, they might just go for it on fourth down a lot, be really super aggressive, you know, balls to the wall because they got nothing to lose, and that's the way Carolina came at us, and it's dangerous like way. Like many times I was like, damn it, are they really going to go for it on fourth down? Okay, and then the ball pops in the air, and Adam Thielen finally picks it out from the sky after
Right.
it, stuff like that was just happening. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that we were able to get our stuff together. The way we played against Pittsburgh was fantastic, but like I didn't want us to overcorrect going into the week. Now we ended up switching it up. I think mainly because Pittsburgh took Saquon out of the game,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of the point that I wanted to make. Like, and that's a point that Jaden said afterwards in his press conference, which was like, I always felt like everyone's like Dan Sileo, for instance, is always like talking to you every week
Please.
about how we're ranked in the passing game. Oh, you're 31st in passing this week, even after we've had a great passing game against Pittsburgh. Oh, you're 27th in passing. It's always the negative, and I'm like, I feel like we just are so talented on offense. We've got so many different weapons that we are capable of killing you in the run. We're killing you in the pass. If you try to take away one, then the other one, is left open. And so, like I always said, and I told Xander, like the minute somebody's able to figure out how to stop Saquon, I promise you, Jalen is going to be able to come out there and cook. Because let's not forget, like this is a quarterback that has taken us to a Super Bowl. Quarterback that was in the MVP conversation 2 years ago, and yeah, it was 2 years ago, but he's still the same guy. You know what I mean? Like obviously we went through a lot over the past season or what and stuff. But I still think he's a winner. I still think he's an elite quarterback, to be honest. Like
No,
it's not just the passing statistics, it's his ability. He's a playmaker, his ability to get out of the jam, run, kill people on third down with his legs. You know what I mean? Like I think the guy is he puts the team on his back when he needs to. I think there's a X factor about him.
Yeah, even last year I thought he put a lot of I thought Hurts put a lot of games on his back. I think the most impressive one he had was against the Bills last year. That was probably the most hectic game that we had. But this season though, like the offense, this is the first year where and it sounds bad, but this is the first. This is a pro style offense that Hurts is learning because he's calling out the protections now. Remember, like Kelsey was calling out protections, the last couple years and like took a lot off Jalen Hurts' plate. So I know there's going to be a lot more questions at the end of this year of play calling and coordinator and all of that stuff. Um, but
You
you're
know what,
winning.
Joey?
Yeah, go ahead.
I
Go
was
ahead.
just thinking that on that point that you just made.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a blessing in disguise for us that we're not like talked about as an elite offense under Kellen Moore. Like
Hmm.
we're not destroying all the offensive stats, because I think it heightens the ability for Kellen to stay next year, which means that Jalen's got more consistency at the play calling position. We don't want to have another turnaround going into next year, because what next year is going to look like with another play caller, because our head coach got our head, not head coach, our offense coordinator got a head coaching opportunity. Like I think it's a perfect scenario. We got Vic Fangio, who he's in the back nine of his career. I think he's going to stay here until he retires. And then if our offensive coordinator isn't necessarily blowing teams away and taking people's attention, then I think it works well for us actually.
Yeah, I mean it really shows like how much more of a ceiling this team has, especially when you're not passing that much. And last week was like obviously a big passing game, like we talked about. Like the Steelers, much respect to them, they stopped the run. I mean, even against the Ravens, they put 140 on them. You know what I mean? So I think you have to be the bullies. You always have to run the football. You have to challenge defenses. I don't care where they are against the run. But we're dismantling teams this year. Jalen Hurts, and look, when it comes to play calling and they're not passing that much, I don't care what the rank is. I'm not a stats guy. I'm not like that. And trust me, if you want to talk about a picky fan, I'm so that. Like, every
Right.
year, I get a lot of shit, trust me, but I don't care because, like, you know what? If I'm wrong, I humble myself, whatever. I'm wrong about a lot of things this year. I'm always wrong every year about something. Um,
I mean, dude, you talk about football all the time. The amount of
mm,
hours you spend behind a microphone, you're gonna say something that
of
isn't
course.
right. Like that's just kind of the the nature of the beast.
I'm not being negative sometimes because just I mean, when I'm too positive, people, say, why am I positive? And when I'm too negative, people think this is how I want to act all the time. And that's not the truth. I mean,
No, I think
it's
it's just you having your finger on the pulse of what's going on. Like
yes.
if the team's playing well, you don't have any negative things to say. You obviously, as you said after the Panthers game, you have concerns about certain things that show up, and then you discuss it. But I'd rather have that discussion after a victory so that we
Right.
keep ticking along, and then we can fix that stuff, in practice or behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Which they did. So
True. That is
yeah,
true.
man. Yeah.
Any last words? Any last statements? You can say anything. It's an open
Look,
free zone.
yeah,
So,
no, yeah, well, this is what I'll kind of say, and this
okay.
is the thing that makes me confident about this team moving forward and the quality that the Eagles have shown throughout this 10-game winning streak. And that is that I think that throughout the course of a ball game, yeah, it might be tight for the first half, and I'm happy that we finally got our first quarter going this week. But at the end of the day, I think we're so much more physical than everybody else. Like
Hmm.
we win the battle, but at the end of it, we have this ability to break the ball game open in the back end of the third or in the fourth. That the other team, we just tire the other team out. Like it might be close, and they take a lot of energy to try to keep in the battle with us. But at the end of it, it's like we break it open. Like you had that the Washington game where Saquon broke open a tight game at the end. You have the Rams game where Saquon broke it open with the two huge runs in the second half. The Ravens game we did something similar. I think I think the Steelers game was, you know what I mean, was the best, most complete performance. But at the same time, we also were able to show that we were even more physically strong than Pittsburgh. And I've
Yeah.
been praising Pittsburgh all year about how tough they are. That's their identity. So at the end of the day, I think that's kind of what it is. And I think it's going to bode well for us in the playoffs. That the playoffs, it gets even more physical. And
Yeah.
if we're the team that ultimately is able to sustain ourselves throughout the course of a ball game and be the one that's standing at the end, able to break open the ball games. It's a great quality that we have, and I'm very confident in
Yeah.
this team. This is
You're
the best Eagles team I have in my life.
You're not worried, like, you have a great offense right now. You're not worried about a Jonathan Gannon screwing up a game for you. You're not worried about a secondary that's going to get exposed if you have no pass rush. Like, this is a different ball game this year now. Like, you actually have a defense now. So, it changes everything.
Agreed.
If I was to even nitpick about the defense realistically, like, I think I think
Pass
really
rush.
I mean, look, I think the pass rush has been okay. Like, like, I get it. Like, the edge rusher has been kind of, it's been like the focal point of, like, man, like, after losing Graham, and Nolan Smith has really come up right now, which I give him a lot of respect. Josh Sweat's a
But I
quiet
think
player that will
that's
get
a
in there.
good thing, though. I think
Yeah.
that's a good thing. I think at the end of the day, BG's gone.
Yeah.
Like the all like this is a credit to Nick to Howie. The fact that we were so reliant, I felt even last year on BG, on Kelsey,
Mm-hmm.
on Lane, on Fletcher Cox. The fact that what we only have now BG and Lane really, and really Lane healthy because BG's gone for the year.
Yeah.
And the fact that I think it's more sustainable that we lean on guys like Nolan, guys like Sweaty, guys like Jalix Hunt. Those guys, if we want to be great as a defense for a long time, and we have players who are young and still in their early 20s and able to play for us and produce for a very long time, we're in a really good position now. Much better than relying and hoping every single year that our veterans sign on for another 1 year deal. Like, how many years are we like, oh, is Kelsey coming back this year? Now we got a young center in Cam
Yeah.
Jurgens, which I know will be there for at
Yeah.
least minimum five years, maybe 8 years, and best case scenario 10 plus. So
Yeah.
we're in a great position. I think our Super Bowl window has really just broken open, really for real. Like I felt in 2002, it was a mixture of the young guys that we got and the old guys their last hurrah. This time, I feel it's more like we've got a core of players around a similar age, healthy 20s, and they're ready to like basically most of our core guys are contracted for the long haul. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I think it's good. You know, even if we don't win it this year, I think this team will be back next year and the year
Yeah,
after that as well.
even Rico says in the chat, he says they're doing good for only a rushing four, and they are. Like they have a three man rotation on the edge right now, and Bryce Huff will be back in the mix probably in a couple weeks, most likely. And we're not expecting Bryce Huff to come in. I think we can all agree he's not worth the money this year.
No way.
But I think like we have to put that to the side and just forget about what he's getting paid and say to ourselves, this guy is just an added luxury that in a rotation he could make a big play. I mean, he was playing better post bye, but we were throwing a lot of compliments at him. He's not playing what he should be playing at $17 million a year. I mean, that's just the truth.
Oh,
So
1000%. But
yeah,
I think now that the other guys have produced and he's been out of the picture, he's sort of like kind of like at this point for Bryce Huff, it's like he's been written off. So now he kind of
mm,
can go in there without any pressure, without as much of a responsibility, and see if he can kind of get cooking. Because that was end of the day, that was his role with the
yeah,
Jets. He came on in
yeah.
rotation and he got you some key sacks and he got them key sacks in key moments. I remember he got one against us when we played the Jets in that odd game that we lost to them last
Yeah.
year. Like maybe that's where he should be. We should never have got this guy to be the main pass rusher for us. I think that was unrealistic to begin with.
I agree. I agree 100%. All right, Anton, I appreciate you coming in,
All right.
man. Thank you
No,
so
I appreciate you
much.
having me.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime, man. I'll be doing this probably every week, maybe every couple of weeks. When we get close to the playoffs, we'll be doing a lot more. So I appreciate you coming in, man. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much, man. See ya.
See you later, man. We got Nathaniel. What's going on, man?
Hey, can you hear me, Joey?
Loud and perfectly crystal clear.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so you guys mentioned Bryce Huff. I'm thinking that maybe this injury, is a blessing in disguise for him. Maybe he got a chance to clear his head, and maybe they're gonna play him and use him correctly. Now we got this ball going. I mean, that's what I'm hoping. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but what do you think? How does this work out for Bryce Huff when he comes back?
I mean, look, he hasn't played in a while, so like I think he's got some time under his belt to get his body into football shape. Not that he's not in shape, but obviously when you're out for this long, you're putting on the pads, so they'll get him into some games and kind of get him going a little bit. I think it's only a luxury at this point. I mean, you're
Yeah,
doing good with a three-man rotation on the edge, but I mean, adding him it's just hopefully going to make it better. I mean, really, like Fangio has been pretty good with, you know, if you're earning your snaps, you're going to get your snaps. Okay. If you're playing well, you're earning your snaps. If you don't, you're going to get less snaps in the game or barely nothing at all. So I like how Fangio is not playing favorites when it comes to this defensive line. So
right.
I'm not against like I really want everybody to just like forget what he's getting paid, forget what he was brought in here for right now in this moment. All we need Bryce Huff to do is give us like 15 to 20% in a rotation. If he can give us that, I mean, he might make a big play at the playoffs. He might do something that we're like, oh my god, we might flip out about it. So we
Yeah.
just have to keep an open mind about it. I have no issue adding him into the rotation at all.
I'll
So
tell you, I'll tell you what though. I mean, if we are in that damn bowl and
yeah,
he gets a strip sack, I'll tell you what, that money will be worth it.
it will,
I
it
mean, that's
will.
me being optimistic, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, maybe like I said, time away. Like you said, he's a luxury at this point. I mean, we got to forget about how much he's getting paid, and
Mm-hmm.
all the young guys that are in now, like Nolan Smith, and all of them playing really well, and it's just that's good for them, And I think that group is tight knit. I think the guys probably like him. I think Vic. You think Vic likes him? Because I remember he wasn't too fond or
No.
something about Bryce, right?
Yeah, he wasn't at all. I mean, it's like, can he play three downs? He's like, oh, he's
Right,
not there yet. I'm like, bro, like you just like who made this? I mean, Fangio was here when they hit free agency. Fangio was here helping at free agency. Why did they sign Bryce Huff to that much money
right.
if he doesn't think he could be a three down? Like, come on now, there's got to be it could have been a Howie versus Fangio type thing, maybe. I don't know. Because I think Fangio's kind of like given us insight on when he sees talent. Like, he can make them successful. I don't know if this was a Fangio signing, to be honest. It's just
Right.
what doesn't sound like right now. No.
Yeah, and another thing with Fangio, like I'm so happy that he's our defensive coordinator because
Mm.
like the Chiefs, Spagnola is Spagnola, right?
Yeah, Spagnuolo, yeah. I can't
Yeah,
say his name right, so.
yeah, he wants to stay there, So it's like I'm just happy that we have a defensive coordinator that just wants to stay in Philly. So
Yeah,
it's
dude,
like,
why not stay there? I mean, at
yeah,
this point, it's like they've had Spags since 2018, 2019. Like,
they need
it's
that. Yeah,
of
we need
course.
that for our defense, dude. It
Yes.
doesn't help like having these coordinators come in and out every freaking year.
Can't do
It's
it,
like,
man.
oh my God.
Always make it in the playoffs. I mean, it's amazing how they still make it to the playoffs with different coordinators. It's
Yeah,
amazing what they could do. But we need stability when it comes to coaching. Not only just the coordinators, but man, like some of the some of the positional coaches, like Bobby King with the linebackers with 10+ years of experience, Christian
yeah.
Parker with the corners. Clint Hurt. I love Clint Hurt. I don't
Oh yeah,
know.
he's
Clint Hurt
great.
is awesome. You
I
know
like
he
him.
he's an ex-defensive coordinator. He's been a DT coach, so he's a lot of experience with these guys. I think making the position, I think the only hiring that Fangio got help for hiring was the Bobby King. Bobby King, I think, was a side hire by his assistants, Fangio's assistants, that kind of said, "Hey, just sign this guy. He's going to do good for the linebackers," and thank God. So
Yeah, yeah, I hear you, man. Well, I'm gonna. That's all I had to say. The kids are sleeping,
yeah,
so I
you're
don't want to
good.
keep
I
talking.
get it, dude. I get it.
All
All
right,
right,
buddy.
man. Thank you for jumping in, man. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Have a good day, man. Good
You
night.
too.
We got Crazy RPF. What's up, man?
What's up, Joey? How you
Back
doing?
again. Back again.
Yeah, and I, yeah. Last week we were talking about how that both of us didn't think that it was much. Eagles didn't have much of a chance to clinch the first seed. I personally have not realized the amount of injuries Detroit Lions had on defense. It's I mean, I still don't think it's going to happen, but it's not as, how do I put this? How do I put this? Like, it's not as daunting task as I thought it would be last week
Mm, yeah.
because of the injuries Detroit has. But then again, I still don't see Detroit losing to the Bears. I don't see if they're going to lose a game. I know they got the Browns right at in Detroit or in Cleveland, I think. The only game they could lose is Minnesota. But
Maybe.
then again, but then again, it's just Eagles. They have to focus on Washington. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm
Yeah.
not focused on anything else but to beat the Washington Hogettes. That's my nickname, the Hogettes, because of the famous offensive line.
Yeah, yeah.
And I hated the Hogettes. I hated that group. I hated the fight song. I hate everything about DC. So that's why I call that Washington Hogettes. That's an insult. But I mean, I don't, Robinson talking to smack is like, bring it on, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Washington thinks they're at the Eagles level, and Eagles have to show them that they're not on our level.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You know what I mean? So I mean, I like what the way Jalen Hurts played. More important, I think I talked to you about this in the live stream during the game after the first quarter. How we scored points, how it was an encouraging sign,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully that momentum keeps building up. If there's anything that I wish the offense would do a little bit more, is throw the ball down the field. But that's just me. You know what I mean? Like to throw the ball, we have 2 Pro Bowl receivers. Like be nice to throw the ball down the field a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
know what I mean?
think, yeah, no, I mean, look, like if you want to take the kill shot, like the problem I have with that, it's not really a problem. It's just that I thought last year they did that a lot, and I thought early this year they did that a lot. Where like if you're not working the short passing game on some of the yak yards that they're getting, like I agree, like I think you should always work up to a play like that. I don't think it should be like taking a shot is great. I have no issue with that. When they were doing it so much to the point where, man, you gotta get a little bit more creative than this because like you're just wasting downs at this point. I understand you have 2 brilliant fucking receivers out there. But I thought last week was a great example of like short passing game, up tempo, motion, I mean, it was fantastic. Jalen Hurts just seeing the field so much clearly and better. And, when you have these long developing plays and Hurts is taking 3.5 to 4 seconds to throw the football, man, like it's just the offense is not on all four cylinders or not. Hurts coming off of getting Hurts into a rhythm is going to be like the key factor. Coming off a big run, coming out, you know what I mean, something like that. If it's second, third, and short in the past games, like how many times has Jalen Hurts audible to play on second, third, and short from a run to a pass? Like he's done it a few times this year, and it's like be bullies, run the fucking ball. Like make it make sense on the down and distance. That's where I'm kind of at with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, we got his arguably best running back in football this year. So it's pretty rare. Of all the football I've seen for over the decades being a fan to the '80s, it's rare to see an Eagles team run the ball more than they pass it. It's
Yeah.
rare. It's rare, man. And but Barkley's been worth it, man. He's been worth all the money he's being paid. But I will say this: I mean, I've never been a person that cared about records or individual accomplishments. They're nice and all that, but I want another world title.
No, I get
That's
it.
the big thing with me. You know what I mean? I'm the one. I care about individual awards and records being broken and stats after the fact. And what I mean by that is after your favorite team wins a world title, then I care about those other things.
Right.
Because naturally, a lot of people are greedy, and I'm no different. Your favorite team wins the Super Bowl or wins a world title in any sport. You want everything.
Right.
You want it
But
all.
this is different. I mean, this is a little different, though. I mean, I honestly don't care about the title. I'm excited for it. If he gets it, great. If he doesn't, I don't care. But it's like, this is a different title. This is different. This isn't breaking an Eagles record. Which he's already done that already. He's already broken a few records already. But this is different. This is Eric Dickerson's rushing record. This is a big deal,
Oh yeah.
So I don't care if he look, at the end of the year, we have to see where Saquon snaps are going to be. The great thing about the end of this, the next 3 games is that you're facing 3 teams really bad against the run, and they can unleash Saquon these next 3 weeks. But they have to be careful because they don't want to get him into the danger zone of having 28 plus carries a game, and then getting to the playoffs, he's going to be, not tired, but it's going to be taking a toll. So, I mean, at this point, if he's not taking a toll, then I don't think Nick is trying to moderate any type of snaps at all. He even said in the press conference, I'm not moderating how many snaps each guy gets. He's just unleashing everybody these next 3 games from what he said. So,
yeah, like I said, I mean, I wouldn't mind if he broke the record. It's just I have bigger goals.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Than what I mean? But, it's just so funny. It's so funny, that the Giants basically handed to him to us on a silver platter, and how wreck of an organization there, which is always great when that happens. And saying how good we're playing this year.
Yeah, I mean, I live in New York my whole life, so I get a lot of no Giant fans are talking right now. So
that's the thing about you. I've always respected about you, man. I mean, I've known you for 7 years now. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never would have thought ever I would be talking to some dude in New York, born and raised, being a Philadelphia Eagle fan. That's not something that if you're from Philadelphia, like I am, right? That's something that you don't think that would be like almost taboo in a way, in a sort of, because like technically, like in Philadelphia, you root for Philly teams. That's the way.
Right.
Tradition I grew up at, right? If you're in New York, you root for the Giants. If you're in Dallas, you root for the Cowboys. You root for your Virginia, D.C. area, you root for the Redskins, I couldn't believe when I first met you in 17, you from New York. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I mean, that is one so much respect. I listened to your call earlier with one of the guys, and he said that, he said that, like, when you grew up in New York, or like, I don't know, well, the respect I have for you is unreal, because I tell you could have very easily been a Giant fan and wouldn't bat an eye. It would have been a normal thing. But that's the thing. Oh, yeah, now I remember what I was going to say. You say you've taken a lot of, flack from people for being over positive or only negative.
Yeah.
I respect your work because you keep it down the middle. But the fact I think you don't get enough respect from people, and I'm being honest with you. You know what I mean? You don't get enough respect because you're born and raised in New York. It's easy for me being an Eagle fan. It's easy for me for Desert Eagle to be an Eagle because we're both in the
Right.
Philadelphia area. You know what I mean? You grew up in an enemy territory. Let's be honest. You grew up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in enemy territory, and somehow you rooted for the Midnight Green right here.
Yeah.
But that is so. I got so much respect. I mean, that's
All
great.
because
That's unreal.
yeah, all because of a stupid bet I made. I think in like 8th grade. I think it was. I forgot. It was the Eagles Jets game. I forgot what the hell it was. I made like a bet, and then like I started following the team, and then I mean that's really how it happened. And then I met my girlfriend a while later. Then I started going to Eagles games with her. And then like the difference is like when you go into like on game day, when you go to a diner, you go to a restaurant, you go somewhere in New York on game day, it's like you don't. I mean, you go to Walmart and all the cashiers have Eagle jerseys on. I mean, it's crazy, it's insane. You know, so there's just such a difference in just loyalty, and you know, when your team is playing bad, you know, Eagle fans are still going to support their team, and when you know these New York teams are playing bad, they're nowhere to be found. You know, they're hiding in their caves. So, any last words to
As a
say?
proud as a proud Philadelphia guy for most of all my life, it's always good when New York teams suck.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Last words. Congratulations on the success for your channel and your podcast,
Appreciate it.
Shakedown Podcast with Philly 500.
Thanks, man.
And hopefully we beat Washington Hogettes and win our 11th straight, and keep moving on forward, and hopefully good things will happen the rest of the way for us.
I hope we'll be talking about good things at the end of the year. So hopefully. All right, man.
Yeah, hopefully we'll happen. Thank you, Joe. Have a good rest of your night.
You too, man. You too, man. Thank you so much. We got Shark. What's up, Shark?
Hey, what's going on, Joey?
What's
up,
dude?
buddy?
No, chilling, man.
Too
Chilling.
much. What you got going?
I'm just like, I'm getting ready for Sunday, and then I'm ready to sit back and watch where this team is going to be, whether you're going to stay at the 2nd seed or you're going to have a 1st seed. It's going to be tough, but I'm kind of already imagining at this point, for me, I'm kind of sitting back saying they're not going to have the 1st seed. I mean, I want to have optimism, but, I'm just trying to be real too, Anything can happen.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, man, I was sitting back listening to all the calls. I'll say, man, it's a lot that I would speak on. I want to talk about, man, if we go out and win this game against Washington, at what point do we start considering Nick Sirianni Coach of the Year? Or but I pose a question to you instead of a statement.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, if we go out and win this week, not even the Super Bowl, but if we go out and win this week, at what point do we start looking at Nick like, man, how many coaches would you even put over him?
Yeah, I mean, I think Eagle fans, I think there's reasons where Eagle fans like Nick and dislike Nick. I think Eagle fans like Nick because he's a tone setter, he's a culture setter, and I think Eagle fans don't like him because I think people ask, like, what does he do? Like, can he actually game plan? Can he actually, because he came to the Eagles in 21 as a game planner, and we definitely know that's not the case because it didn't last a half a season in 21 when he gave over the reins to Shade Steichen. So realistically, like, I think he's always learning every single year because realistically, at the end of last year, I didn't want to hear from him. At this past offseason, I didn't want to hear from him again. And then I really want to know before the bye week, like, do these players respect him? Do they think he's a joke? Do they think he's a clown? Is he losing the locker room? I don't know. Like, is this man legit? Like, do the players want to play for him? Obviously, if you have a fragmented locker room and he's losing players, then yeah, Jeffrey Lurie has to pull the plug and say, yeah, enough's enough with this. We need somebody else in here. But I think as of recent, like I said, I think Nick does things out of pocket. And I think he is learning, and he hasn't dived into the playbook as of recent, we looked at the Browns game. We looked at, obviously some of the low tier games that we've had, the Browns, the Jags game where he was overly too much and too aggressive. And I feel like he's too much of an analytics guy where he looks at the analytics and says, "Oh, well, this defense is like last against the pass. Let me take over the play calling this week because I know what to do." And, take the points, Nick. That's all we've been really saying. I'm okay with Nick now. I think he's dialed in. He's laser focused. I think he's wanting the coaches. The coaches are going to coach. The players are going to play, and you got to make things simple for this offense. And I'm on a good side of Nick right now, but
Okay.
that's where I'm
All
at
right. All right. I got you, man. Does Dan Campbell call plays
for the offense.
for anyone, for offense or defense? I don't think he called plays. But you can correct me if I'm
I
wrong.
don't
But
think he does. I mean, I don't
yeah, that's
think
what
he
I'm
does.
saying. So if we look at Dan Campbell as a big time coach, and we look at what he's done over there in Detroit, and so what does he do? It's the same to me. It's the
Yeah.
same thing as far as in the culture and what the guys believe in, and whether or not Nick's lost the locker room. I don't hear that kind of talk from none of the players. We didn't even hear from Devin White that left, probably in a sour taste, or
Mm-hmm.
Reddick. We ain't hear no talks of Reddick saying what it was like over here. So the mainstream media, this is just my take on it, man.
That's fine.
Little old me, but the mainstream media will have us paint this picture that he's this or that, man. But I think Eagles fans, I think the majority are the ones that dislike him. I think it got to be like it's like emotional. It got to be personal, man. Because if you look at the numbers, he's a winner. I think at some point, us watching Nick done some dumb shit
Mm-hmm.
that made us feel a certain way. You know what I mean? You watching the game and you feel a certain way. Like maybe Nick might have hurt our feelings when he lost a game or something. But as far as in the numbers, man,
Yeah.
him coming on there with rookie Jalen and he being a rookie head coach, man, them boys they've been playing, they've been balling.
Yeah. No, it's
That's,
true. No,
you
it's
know what I
true.
mean? I'm gonna touch bases on something else too, man. You
Go
you
ahead.
can stop me at any time.
You're fine.
But Saquon, man, love Saquon. We love 2-6, man. Could talk 5 minutes about 2-6, right?
Right.
But I just want to say, man, this is the same head coach, almost the same O line. When people thought losing Kelsey, we was gonna feel it, right? And people say, "Oh man, the players went and talked to Nick, and now we running the ball." Man, they decided to run the ball when they went and got Saquon. You wouldn't have went and paid Saquon and got Saquon here. And you think that they waited in the middle of the season to start drawing up run plays? I don't believe that. I believe we came out and we played the beginning of the season, and then we got hit. We got hit with injuries, just like how Detroit got
Mm-hmm.
hit with injuries. But they didn't when we was losing and we weren't looking that great and we couldn't really figure it out. We got two new offensive coordinators, a new running back there, no Kelsey, and we just came off of the ugly shit that we left off last year. They didn't give the Eagles no grace.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they talk about Detroit, they say, "Oh, the injuries, the injuries." Well, shit, what they doing over there? How they got so many injuries? 17 on it. What they doing?
Yeah, it's a
But then
lot.
they question. You know what I'm saying? They question Nick when he resting the guys or when he slipped up and said, "Oh, was it an ankle or whatever
Right.
it
Right.
was?" He didn't. You know what I'm saying? You at some point, man, yeah, I don't know what it is with the Eagles, why they just give them so much crap, man, but they don't give them the same grace as other teams.
No, I agree with that. Because it's Philadelphia media, or you say it's the big media outlets that, yeah, we won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. We won a Super Bowl with not as many as Detroit had, but we had some pretty big ones. We had one at quarterback. We had one at left tackle. We lost Darren Sproles. We lost Maragos. On special team. We lost Jordan Hicks. We lost some big time players that year. And then we really didn't miss a beat. So it's when, I think Detroit has gotten a big pass this season. It doesn't matter what they do; they could throw 5 picks in a game. The Eagles. If they did what Washington did, and if they threw, if they kicked 4 field goals and threw a Hail Mary and got the touchdown to win the game, I don't think this team would get any respect for that. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of these, you talked about a lot of these hands-off coaches, and there's a lot of them out there. The problem with this team right now is that you don't have any play calling in-house. Like if Kellen Moore leaves, you don't have like Nick to say, "Oh, let me take over." You don't have that because it all changes. So that's a whole nother, maybe a problem. Maybe you won't have this problem after this year or something like that. So I completely, get all of that, but it's gonna
Yeah,
be
I,
interesting.
absolutely, man. I agree with everything you said, and I would hope that Kellen Moore stick around at least another year or two. And to touch bases on something that one of your other homeboys said on here was, this a young team.
Mm-hmm.
Man, these guys young, and most of them locked up already. And
Mm-hmm.
then on defense, the ones that's not already locked up are rookies. You know, this team since Nick got here, since Jaden got here, they haven't seen any consistency. Man, if they win this year, if they win it all this year and not too much change, man, we could be really looking at something like, how another one of your homeboys said, they said about, I guess like about the record.
Yeah.
One thing I say about this team from Nick right on down, because Nick assumed all the blame. Even when he was calling plays when they looked ugly. Who even knows if that was the truth? You know what I'm saying? Because he just assumed responsibility.
Right.
But all of these guys is I guess you would call it like selfless, like to where it's all about the bigger picture. It's all about winning. Like you take Saquon, man, getting stopped on the 1 yard line. And everybody was like, "Oh, the tush push, that's Robin Saquon. Man, when he was on the mic'd up against New
Mm-hmm.
York, you know what I'm saying? He was saying, line up, let's do it again. These guys, man, they want a championship. Look how good Charles Barkley was. No one championship. They want
Mm-hmm.
a ring, man. It doesn't matter. Now, if you get the MVP on the way there, that'd be great.
Oh
But
yeah.
man, they got to get the ring.
Yeah,
And Lamar done won it twice.
this would be the perfect year for Saquon. Plus the Super Bowl's on his birthday too, which is
Really?
insane. Yeah. Which is fucking insane. That's my girlfriend's birthday is on this. My girlfriend's birthday's on the Super Bowl as well. It's fucking crazy. It's like that'd be a perfect day for everybody.
No.
So I think the Eagles have changed their philosophy. Yeah, paying a running back $12 million a year, fantastic. And then really like they hit the bye week, and then it was like, hey, Lane Johnson, Mulata, whoever. I mean, all the rumors say, hey, they went up to Nick and said, we gotta use Saquon. Like we gotta run the fucking ball. I think this is the most Kellen Moore has run the football. I think more than Dallas with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. I think this is the most he's ever run the ball this season.
Now, see, I remember when Mark Holmes was telling 500 about Kellen Moore wanting to always sling the pill. He always wanted to throw the ball. Nick wanted to throw the ball. So when you get the guys that now they starting to run the ball, I think that's kind of like what I can't speak for Jalen, but what I took from it was, man, Jalen want to sling the pill. He want to throw it downfield. Nick want to throw it downfield. Kellen definitely want to throw it downfield. But we went and got Saquon, and we built this. Man, look, Swift, Saquon is Saquon. I'm not going to compare him to
Yeah.
Swift. I would just say we seen Swift have little spurts last year, right?
Yeah.
But Swift never got traction because this year we're seeing dedication. We're seeing commitment to the run. Last year when they would run with Swift, if he wasn't getting no motion, no traction, we would start slinging the pill downfield. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that because
Yes.
you know what I mean. We don't even this. I think with the commitment that the Eagles got right now with the run game, we saw Gainwell get in there the other day. If Gainwell was, you know what I'm saying?
Bro, that's the best I've seen Gainwell look, bro. I mean, that's the best. You know what? They even last year with Swift, like, wow, but Swift was working with the receivers and he was going to be in the passing game. And how long did that last? That didn't last long. And then it was just like second to last game of the season, he just broke 1,000. I mean, come on now. I mean, they They love using Gainwell on 2-minute drill, and they still do it. That's a Nick thing. It's got to be a Nick thing because Kellen wasn't here last year. So, but these inside zone runs are probably so like sometimes they don't go anywhere. And I feel like when they use these running backs in different ways, like last week was Gainwell's like that proved to me like that's what a second running back looks like. Like that, the way he, went out for a pass, like he was, made a guy miss, and he's good. Like what takes Gainwell far is really his vision because you throw him the ball in open space. If he has that 1-on-1, 9 out of 10 times he's going to make the guy miss. But athletically, like that's the best I've seen Gainwell play with his body. I mean, it was like, wow, like these inside zones are that fucking boring. Like
No doubt,
they
man.
go nowhere.
I completely agree, and last week was the first time you like, damn man, Gainwell got some size to him. You know what I'm saying? Like he not as small as some people might think he is, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I say I also agree with you with the short passes, man, because that's how the Buccaneers got to us. You know what I mean? It was either, we running the ball or we gotta sling the pill 50 yards downfield. And last week seeing that, that was refreshing. But I tell you, I dislike, man, sometimes when when homeboy John McMullen, I guess his name is, was saying how Jalen got to act for the deep ball. I watched the Lions game and the Eagles highlights the other night, the old game.
Yeah.
And, you see him at times, he's slaying the pill down near the AJ. People soon forget that just because we running the ball now, that they can't throw it. Now, yeah, they are a little rusty. They did look like crap the game before last. But, if they get it together and them short passes like you talk about and the run game stay consistent, man, shit, I don't see who gonna stop them.
Yeah, I mean, without Saquon Barkley, you lose 4 games probably this season. I mean, realistically, but I mean, like, we pass too much, we're not running enough, and then we run too much, we're not passing enough. Like you have the number 1 rusher in the league right now. Like, what do you like? You're acting as if like the run, we're forcefully running the ball and it's going nowhere. And I have to say this: last year or past years, when the Eagles would run the football and they would hit a wall, like, hey, we had a big first down run by Swift, and then they run with him again, he gets like 2 yards, they would stray away from the run immediately. They wouldn't even go back to it. This year, it's a completely different story because now, like, even if, Barkley got semi shut down, maybe a one breakout run inside the 5, but he pretty much got shut down in that Steelers game. Much respect to the Steelers, but, they'll go back to the running game, though. They're not afraid to go back to it if it didn't work earlier. So that's what I respect them a lot for as well. They're not straying away from it. So
100%.
Yeah.
100%, man. And we're gonna find out Sunday, if they can find that happy medium. I know I gotta get out of here, man. Let somebody else get on here. I'll say, man, the last thing I'll say, man, I guess would be a question, man. What would you like to see Sunday?
I want them to get in and out of this game as fast as possible. That's number 1. Number 2, running the football with Saquon is going to be my number 1 thing in this game. And I think, I don't care what Brian Robinson has to say. The last thing he should be doing is talking at all. Like, especially against this team that stays quiet. They hear the noise and they're going to show up on Sunday in Washington. Doesn't matter where it is. Get the short passing and going. However the game is going, let Nick go in that, or whatever. Let Jalen go in that direction. However, if they have to pass more, if they have to run more, I think he's going to run the ball very well in this game. And, I'm not trying to force him to, break this record or whatnot at the end of the year, but it would be nice while getting into the playoffs. But, like I said, I think defensively, you're going to do the same thing as you did last time. I think you just got to rush. Your defensive line rushes, a 4-man rush, which is great. Don't create these running lanes for Jaden Daniels. Make him look like a rookie. And just keep putting pressure on him, and he's going to fold. So,
no doubt, man.
I think you're going to be good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it, man. I tell you, I like to see them take some of them. You see how TJ Watts was punching the ball. I like to see a lot of that come from our guys Sunday. I would love to see some of that. and of
Uh,
course CQ.
yeah,
Pick one.
like physical wise, like I think from a physicality standpoint, they look more physical than the Ravens. They look more physical than the Steelers. 100%,
No
100%.
doubt. No doubt. I appreciate you, big
All right,
dog.
you too,
Man, me
man.
and my wife listen to you all the time, man.
Appreciate it, man, so much. Yeah, we'll be doing this again anyways, so you could always come in. All right, man.
No doubt.
All right.
Take it easy, Joey.
Ah, you
All right, big
too.
dog.
All right.
All right, bro.
Thanks. We got Michael Myers in the building. I like the name.
Hey, what's up?
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, man, I was just I was listening to Brian Baldinger, today and all that, and he was saying, he was talking about how Fred Johnson and Tyler Steen, how they performed, and I just wanted to say, how awesome it is that we actually have a great offensive line and depth, because a lot of teams they don't have that, and that's a big key to our success, as a football team. And
Yeah, no,
yeah, man,
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't
yeah,
mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
yeah, well, yeah, brother. I would just say that it's gonna look good, man. I just think that and here's the thing, man. I have a whole lot to talk about, but I was gonna say, in regards to the matchups, between, let's say, the Bills and the Lions and all that, because I think we're gonna like we're definitely gonna face those guys, right? Or at least it's looking like it, right? So, seeing how much the Bills hung up on the Lions, obviously, their defense isn't, as good as ours, So, seeing what we did to the Steelers, putting up a 10-minute drive on the Lions, I
Yeah.
think that's the perfect dude. I think that's the perfect remedy. You know what I mean? To attack the Lions. Keep that offense off the field. As much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, the
And
Steelers only had like two. Yeah, they had like two possessions in the second half. I think for like 3 minutes. I mean, it
yeah.
wasn't even long. So yeah.
That's and guess what, man? That'll work for the Bills. It'll work for the Lions. It'll work for any team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you got a good defense; those guys are gonna get worn out. You could have a Hall of Fame defense, right? Uh, those guys are human. They bleed,
Yeah.
and they're gonna get tired and exhausted.
Of
So,
course.
yeah, man. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like and you know what, like time of possession's great, and I think the difference is between some of these top teams right now is like I don't think the Bills have a great defense. I don't think Detroit has a great defense, and obviously injuries have taken a toll. It's part of the game at this point in the season. Everybody's
Yeah,
dealing with injuries. Like even if they're not on the injury report, like everybody's dealing with something at this time of the
yeah,
season. That's why that number one seed is so important. But at the same time, it's like, look, if you are saying, you know what, we have no chance against it, because it's not even just Detroit. It's like Minnesota has to lose too. So it's like
yeah.
you need two teams to really lose or take a fall. Like someone's got to help us out. Whether the Bears kept it close on Thanksgiving with Detroit. Stupid Bears had a timeout left. Stupid
Oh yeah,
offense.
they're stupid.
Okay, and like I think if you really have to, the last couple weeks of the season, you might have to, if someone has a more serious injury or something like that, and you can't afford to just have them on 1 week of rest and not have them in that playoff game, you might have to rest somebody for a couple weeks. Or you say, you know what, let's take the second seed. If we lose one of the two games at the end of the year, it's not going to matter. The Eagles lock up that second seed regardless. They host a playoff game at home, and we'll meet the Lions when we meet them if that's going to be the case. So I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't think it's impossible to get the first seed, but we need some
Yeah.
luck going in our way through that. That Falcons game came back to hurt us a little bit. So, which we all thought.
Oh
Was gonna happen.
yeah. Oh yeah, and I was thinking about this earlier today. I'm like, you know what, dude? I'm like, the Philly fans, they travel everywhere, dude.
Oh yeah.
It's not like, hey, let me tell you, it's not like we're Charger fans, you know what I mean? Where there's
Yeah.
14 people in the stands or something like that. There's like I can see it, dude, where half the fans would be Philly fans and half would be Lions fans. So they're gonna flood that stadium, man, because they travel well too. So I don't think it's going to be such a huge, daunting amount of, the ratio of Lions to Philly fans and stuff like that, But I also wanted to throw this because this is another caveat. Another thing I want to talk about is like, I mean, here's the crazy thing, dude. Not only can we like run the ball and get those 10-minute drives, 10 minutes and 30 freaking seconds,
Right.
but it's not like we're doing that in spite of our defense, because our defense is the number one in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just put it this way. Imagine if you had an NFL team, right? And they said, well, yeah, they have their problems. Their defense is middle of the road, whatever like that. But man, they can take 10 minutes off the clock. People would be looking at them like, hey, man, they're dangerous. But if you can do both, like think about that, man. You got both. You got the number one defense. And it's not like we're talking about the number one defense week 2 or week 3. We're talking it's week 12, man. So we can be pretty damn sure. And we face some high caliber teams, man.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, the Ravens, they had the number one offense, man.
Yeah.
And they in the Packers, they're no joke. We helped the Rams. The Rams defense may not be that great, but man, Matthew Stafford, he swings that thing, around, and so we've shown we can do that, So yeah, man. So it's looking pretty exciting, man.
Yeah,
So Saturday's gonna be a good game.
It's the most complete team in the NFL. It's 100% the most complete team. I agree.
Complete is the perfect word.
Yeah.
I always forget to say it, but yeah, complete is the perfect word. And yeah, man, you never know, right? Bryce Huff, he could. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know, man. I think I was watching your podcast or Philly 500, whatever, and I guess I'm not mistaken. I heard a conversation where maybe they were using him wrong. Maybe they weren't. Is he better in this stance, in a 4-point stance, or he seems to perform better in there. So hey, maybe they got something. How awesome would it be to have him in the playoffs? And he just rips one and gets a strip sack. That'd be freaking awesome and a pleasant surprise. But Kenny Gainwell's been kicking butt.
Yeah.
He's no slouch either. And yeah, man, I'm just telling you that's pretty crazy, man. I was watching Brian Baldinger. He doesn't, he doesn't like BS around. He's not just gonna lie to you.
Oh, I love watching
and tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not just gonna lie to you and sugarcoat anything and tell you what you want to hear or anything like that. And he was praising, the backups. He said, man, they didn't miss a beat. The backup offensive lineman, Fred Johnson, and
they filled in. No, the backup they filled in well. Tyler Stevens filled in well. He filled in well earlier in the season when Mekhi Becton was out with a concussion. I thought he's played pretty good. Fred Johnson has had his, he's had. You got to be when you're thrown to the fire like that. You're gonna have a rough time. You're gonna fail sometimes. But I think Fred Johnson has really tightened up either at left tackle or right tackle. So Fred Johnson's a free agent next year too. So. Stoutland's done a fantastic job. But you're not going to miss a beat.
Yeah, all right. Absolutely, man. Well, that's all I wanted to say. Okay. I know there's probably a lot of people in line and stuff like that, but you have a good day, brother.
Yo, last question.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Halloween Ends, bad movie or good movie?
Halloween. You know what? I never seen it, dude.
Oh, you didn't see it? Okay.
No, but yeah, it's funny because my name is. It's hilarious because my name is Michael Myers, right? But that right. is funny, right?
Yeah,
I gotta watch it though soon. But that's one of my favorite movies, Friday the 13th. I just been so busy, man. You ever been so busy?
Yes.
You're just like you get 4 hours of sleep. Yeah, it's been a crazy year, But I'm gonna watch that ASAP,
All right, you watch it. Let me know.
But
all right,
brother. All right, man. You take care. All right, man.
All right, you too, man.
All right, later, brother.
This stream is sponsored by BetUS, so go check out BetUS. Appreciate it so much, guys. Yeah, we're getting through. So let's do some more. I had to ask his name. I had to ask. How do I not ask a question? Reanimator's fantastic, by the way. Reanimator is great. Fantastic. Okay. All right, here we go. Appreciate everybody coming in. 130 of the chat. Make sure you subscribe, like the stream. Thank you so much. Call in our second call in. When we get close to the playoff time, we'll be doing more call-ins as well. So let's do it up. Let's do it up. All right. We got Jaden in here. Do I have Jaden in here? I think my shit froze. Hold on. Yo, what up, Jaden?
Yo, how you been, Joy?
Chilling, man. Same old. What's going on?
All right, so one thing I wanted to talk about is Nolan Smith. Like, I appreciate how unbiased you are about certain players. Like, if they playing well, you're going to give them their credit. If they don't play well, you're going to call them out, and that's how it should be.
Yeah.
For Nolan Smith, it feels like there's been like a lot of weight on him this year. It's like it's the second year. He didn't really have any flashes last season, and this year he's kind of stepping up to the occasions and being part of that big rotation. And sooner or later we'll get Bryce Huff back, but he will still be a big part of the rotation. But I appreciate like you just going out, and then when he's playing well, you're not going to try to like stomp on him or nothing. You're going to give him his credit, and you just you're all around just a unbiased YouTuber. We just need more players. We need more.
Oh, lost Jaden. Lost Jaden.
And
There you go.
yeah. So you're just all around just an unbiased guy. We just need more people like you to just give people their credit when they're stepping up.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I don't blame Nolan Smith. I blame the coaching staff for how they treated him last year. I know he had like an injury last year, and on our downfall, he was ended up getting a little bit more snaps last year. And Sean Desai had no idea what he was doing. The switch off from defensive coordinator to Matt Patricia, and that was just a huge mess last season. But I eat my words. Like, look, he had like 2 unblocked sacks in preseason. And I wasn't making a big deal about it like other people were making it. Like, like 2 unblocked sacks. There was one where he wasn't even blocked. There was another one where a running back chipped Nolan Smith and pretty much hit him right into the quarterback. So I was kind of like, it's not enough for me. Just like I had enough after Nakobe Dean, after that open practice he had at the link, and he got burnt by Kenneth Gainwell on a couple plays. Like he was disgusting in the passing game. He was horrible against the pass. So I mean, I eat my words on it, man. Like at the time, like I wasn't high on it, and then I'll come around, man. That they start producing. It's not Nolan's fault. It's not some of these guys. It's not their fault. Nakobe Dean was injured a lot, and finally he was healthy. So it just takes some guys to produce and the right defensive coordinator behind it. So I'm always gonna not walk on eggshells around Eagles news and like what's really going on. So I appreciate it though.
And then another thing I wanted to talk about was, the second seed. I'm just less concerned about getting the first seed now. I think that we're just, I feel like we're just a very well-rounded team. Like, we have a great defense, and we have an offense that can run the ball with talent. We have wide receiver talent. I'm like, to me, it's like securing these guys for the playoffs. Like, Dallas Goddard and getting Bryce Huff back. And it's like, I just more focused on just getting everyone ready for whatever comes in the wild card. I could care less about getting that number 1 seed. Like, what's more important to me is that we don't try to run out and try to burn ourselves out, and then someone gets somebody goes down with an injury in a game where we don't really need to go push ourselves out there. I think that we're just a well-rounded team, and we would love to have that number 1 seed, because if the playoffs run through the link, we know the results of that. The last 2 times the playoffs ran through the link, we know what we are capable of doing. But this team is still very capable of just going out and just going anywhere in the NFC and just coming out with a victory, because this team is the winning. Everyone on this team just has a winner mentality, and I can care less about the first seed. I'm more concerned about just getting everyone healthy and just getting everybody ready for a wild card game.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm kind of at. Like I don't care whether they're gonna be on the road or they're hosting a game in the second round. I mean, I don't even I don't even care at this point, just because like look, like if they feel like if injury, I think it just depends on how everything looks. From what Nick said today, it was like someone asked Nick, are they going to monitor snaps for guys for the roster? And he said, no, we're gonna play, and we're gonna be determined to go into these games and do what we got to do to win, and that's it. So I respect that, but obviously, if we start to get injuries and like, okay, then the first seed might not be important because I have no issue with this. I have no issue with this team going on the road. I have no issue at all. So, um, however the chips may fall are going to fall. Like there's a lot that has to happen. Like obviously you're hoping Detroit's going to stumble, and then Minnesota has to stumble too. So it's a lot. It's not just one team. It's two teams that really have to stumble, and we have to get real lucky while we have to take care of business at the same time. So, you know.
Yeah, I just thinking that like for one, I want to talk about Brian Robinson. Like he's been talking a lot. He seemed like that 49ers after NFC Championship vibe
Yeah.
where they're like talking, oh, they're not a good team, they're going to get exposed, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, we didn't win a Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, it's like just when they lose and they just continue to be a crybaby and they're acting like you're just the better team. It's like it's funny to me because the Commanders, I call them like the NFC Dolphins, kind of like in 2023, where the Dolphins
Right.
were looking explosive.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
Dolphins were blowing out the Broncos. They were putting everyone, they were pretty much putting all their starters away by the beginning of the fourth quarter in games. But when the Dolphins came into these big games against top conference seeded teams and teams that are above 500 and won more games than they
Mm-hmm.
lost, their stats starting to deteriorate a little bit. Like they're
Lost you.
Yeah, my bad.
You're good. You're
The
good.
defense, yeah, the defense is looking a little sluggish. They're not getting off the field they need to. The offense isn't, getting the ball up and down the field. So, it more matters when it's the bigger game. It really determines what the team is at. Like for us, we've had big games this season. No one's going to really give us that credit, and no one is going to give us that credit. No matter what the outcome of this season is, there always is going to be something that's going to be a goalpost moving moment with Jalen Hurts, is with this whole entire team. If we go out and we end up winning the NFC and going to the Super Bowl, you know what they're going to say? The Lions had 15, 16 players on IR. You lucky. Y'all guys really got lucky because if A. Hutchinson's here and the defense is healthy, y'all guys wouldn't even stood a chance against us. And it's like, man, like, yeah, they're going to move the goalpost no matter what. Like, I'm not looking for, validation from nobody no more, man. All I know is this
You
team is going to be
shouldn't.
good. And if people are going to criticize us, then it is what it is, man.
Yeah, every team we faced, every team that's been hyped up going against the Eagles, like I think the first was like obviously Green Bay. They took care of business. We knew it was going to be a close game. The Saints game, like they were scoring 40 per game, high passing caliber offense going. The Eagles haven't beat the Saints, in the dome in a while, and they got it done in a really a big defensive battle there. Washington was hyped up going to that game. We beat Washington, and now it's like, oh, his ribs, he's a rookie, blah blah blah. All these moving the goalposts once again. And every time the Eagles play, the Eagles play the Panthers. They lost against. Sorry, they see that's what fans maybe think we lost that damn game when we really didn't. So always moving those goalposts. You're 100% correct on that. I think they just have to. They've been very good on blocking out the noise. I think some noise they're always going to hear, but they just need to contain it and they need to use it on the field on Sunday and take care of business. I mean, the Eagles won a Super Bowl in 17 with no starting quarterback. So I mean, with a lot of key injuries, like it
Yeah.
happens. You know what I mean? So the Lions offensively can still score great. I mean, David Montgomery is out for the year, so are they gonna sign another running back? What's going on with them? I don't know. But their defense is just it's bad. I mean, it's pretty bad. So I think
And
yeah, go ahead.
and if the like say the Lions do secure first seed and they lose, wouldn't we? And if we do win, wouldn't we host we would host the NFC Championship game, wouldn't we? Since we would be the higher seed, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so even if the Lions are hurt on the defense right now, and I think in the playoffs that's going to matter because you're going to be facing the best in the top dogs in the NFC, and if the Lions aren't defensively prepared,
Yeah.
they could stumble in the playoffs. And if we continue to do our thing, then guess what? We'll be what we wanted to begin with. What happened in the NFC Championship game, where we would host the NFC Championship game. So all we really have to do is just focus on us, because it's like we're not like the Bengals or some team that really relies on outcomes of what other teams do. Like we're a great team that can lead, that can go to the finish line just on what we do. We control our own destiny. So I'm not too worried about it, and I don't think anyone else should be.
No, I wouldn't stress. Honestly, I wouldn't stress about it. This is just the way it's gonna go. And don't like I don't like when fans try to like tell me like to feel bad about a win that felt like a loss as much as we could nitpick at a game that we didn't play necessarily great in. But like I said, they just got to take care. They have to take care of their own business the next 3 weeks, counting this week, and see where the chips fall. I don't care if they're home. I honestly would rather have them on the road just because I think they're just better on the road, and I think they're more focused when they're on the road, and I think to shut a team up in their own house is like the best feeling ever. I have
Ever, yes.
I have no issue with that at all. Like I've never felt so comfortable like actually being on the road in the fucking playoffs at all. Like I've never felt this way in past years ever.
What do you think is going to be the key to beating Washington on Sunday?
I think it's running the football, honestly. I mean, the next 3 weeks, Saquon should have a field day, but hopefully, last week wasn't just one of those weeks where they want to prove a point and start passing the ball just because Saquon got shut down, and obviously the big drama between Hurts and AJ Brown that the media made it a lot bigger than what it was. I'm hoping that not I'm not looking to see them have a passing game like this every single game because the run game has been our bread and butter this season. So and like defensively, I think they just got to do the same thing. They got to make Jaden Daniels uncomfortable. They have to rush great as a defensive line. Don't create any gaps for Jaden Daniels to run through and they don't. I don't think they have Austin Eichler for this game. I think he's still hurt, so that's a back that they're totally gonna miss for this game. I think they just got to do their thing, man. I think they'll be fine in this game. I want to get in this game and out of this game as fast as possible. It's going to be a fight, most likely. It's in Washington. Doesn't matter to me. I think they're going to be fine. I mean, regardless, like, I think you should add in the short passing up tempo. I think you should still do some different things in here and but still give Barkley his snaps. He had 19 carries last week. That's nothing. I mean, that's a 19 snaps is a 2-second jog for Saquon. So I mean, pretty much. But
All right, that's all I have to say. And I just wanted to call in and say a couple
yeah.
of little things, but I appreciate you. I appreciate your channel. I love when you post the late night videos. I'm always playing the game up, and usually just watch your videos, listen to us a podcast while I'm playing my games. But I appreciate you, and I appreciate your consistency. And I'll catch you later.
All right, thanks, man. See you later, man. Thank you so much. Yo, EC1, what's up, dude?
What up, Joey? Great channel as always, man. I appreciate you for having me on, and
Yeah.
man, I'm excited for Sunday because I think we're gonna whoop them boys again. Commander fans, I mean, they come out of nowhere after being quiet as a mouse,
Mm,
swore down that they're going to shock the whole world and beat us. I mean, these Commander fans, they're delusional. They're worse than Cowboy fans, man. They're
mm,
starting to get worse than Cowboy fans. They're just saying obnoxious stuff, sitting in the talk about Jaden Daniels was hurt. I mean, he wasn't hurt when he was playing the Steelers, but he's hurt when he played against the Eagles.
yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to it because honestly, like, to go into Washington and sweep them and win the division, it's going to be so sweet, to watch these meltdowns happen on their live streams and them crying because they thought they had a chance. I mean, like, I feel like Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFC East. I do think that people disrespect him. I mean, CBS had him ranked 10 behind guys who he's beaten. They had Jared Goff above him. I mean,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you know, you got Dominic Foxworthy talk about he is pretty privileged. I don't even know what that means, honestly. Okay, I mean, these guys just be saying stuff without any context. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. I want Hurts to win the Super Bowl so bad, and
Mm,
it would be lovely to watch him win the Super Bowl MVP. That would make my dream come true because then what can you say? And I feel like he's on a mission. I feel like after that Super Bowl loss, he's been on a mission to get back.
yeah.
Last year he was trying to get back, and obviously we had things going on that prevented us from doing that. But this year, I feel like there's nothing that can stop him. I feel like he's on a mission, and like I said, I mean, it's up to the coaching. At the end of the day, you can have all the players you want, like you said. It's up to the coaching. I feel like these coaches are finally getting together, and
Yeah.
I love what I saw versus Steelers. I thought our passing game was on point. It just excited me to get AJ Brown going and just to watch that touchdown celebration. Like it's like, oh look, they're fine. Like y'all were making a big deal out of nothing, you know. And then just laughing. I was laughing. I was watching a live stream. Was watching the games also. And it's kind of hilarious to see your reaction after a bad play or a good play. I love watching your streams during every Sunday. I mean, it's beautiful thing. You know, but I'm just excited for this football team. I mean, we got some young cornerback depth this year, and I've been begging for a corner, and we finally got one. And it's just great to see these guys hitting like they actually want to knock someone out, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't wish that on anybody, and I don't wish injuries, but it's just nice to see the youth being young, and you're going to have a lot more picks next year, and I'm just excited. I'm excited, but yeah, I can't wait for Sunday, and I think we're going. I think we're going to beat them. I think Jaden Daniels struggles with playing a real defense. I'm not impressed with. I'm really
I mean,
not. You know, go ahead.
I'm not that generic fan that's like, oh well, I don't compare losses from what a team does early in the season, because teams could look completely different now than they did early in the season, whether it's a positive or a negative thing. But I think part of it too is like Washington hasn't really they haven't beat any good team above 500.
No,
They haven't
they're-
done
they're-
anything. They're beating up on these
yeah.
small teams. They're beating up on every time I'm watching them. Like when they don't face the Eagles or a good team, like every time I watch them, like they only won against one. They won 20-19 against the Saints. The defense did a great job, but the Saints defense did a great job. 8 sacks on Jaden Daniels, but that bucket backup quarterback was just god awful. His first game, I mean, yeah, horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think their best one was against the Titans, wasn't it? Like, like I'm sorry, but like, when they talk about the Chicago Bears are winning record, it's like, are you serious right now? Are you trying to tell me the Chicago Bears are the only team you beating and you're bragging about it? Like, you know, these Commander fans, I mean, their content creators are even crazier because they're over there saying Marshawn Lattimore is going to be that Marshawn Lattimore that the Saints had. It's like, no. Marshall Lattimore is not the same Saints cornerback that from 2018. You're not getting the guy from 2022. And they brag about it like Minshew was playing, like Hurts was playing when Minshew was playing. Like
Yeah.
Minshew was horrible in that game. I had no confidence in that game. I'm gonna be real with you. I had us losing that Saints game because I've been saying it. Like I thought Minshew wasn't great against Cowboys and very much was horrible versus the Saints. And I had us losing that Saints game. I was the first one to say it. Like that defense, maybe you were also, but it was a couple people that were saying we were going to lose that Saints game because that defense was just good.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you had a quarterback that I didn't think played great, but they brag about that stuff. And it's like, first of all, it's like, who is y'all? Like, we beat y'all the first time, and you would think you would be humble for a fan base that hasn't done nothing in how many years. And for Brian Robinson to say that, it's like you see how other players, like our players before, used to run their mouth about the Cowboys, and you saw what happened. Like, why would you do that? Let your game do the talking.
Look, Washington is going to get more hype this year because literally it's new owner, new GM, new head coach, new coordinator, new quarterback, new team. They're going to get a lot of respect because it doesn't matter how they win. They can win by a Hail Mary. They can win. I mean, it doesn't matter how they win. And they had $95 million in cap space, and they signed 17, 18 free agents. Like any team could do that. The Titans did that. They failed. The Washington did it. They did a little bit better. Okay, but has it paid off? I think they're going in the right direction. It's not going to be this year, but they'll be better next year. They'll be better the year after that because they're not paying Jaden Daniels. So they will get better sooner or later. And I think Dan Quinn is a type of coach where he's done it with the Cowboys too as a coordinator. And he's done it with the Cowboys as well, where Dan Quinn is he starts to flame out a little bit at the end of the year, middle to end of the year. He's done that before, and he's doing it now. So if the Eagles throw 5 picks in the game and still win the game, is Hurts getting respect? No. Is if the Eagles kicked 4 field goals and they threw a Hail Mary and to win the game, will they get respect? No, because then they're obviously, well, why do they have to get to that point in the game? Obviously, they're going to congratulate Washington for that because it's like, hey, it's an entertaining play. It's from a rookie, and he's got bad ribs or whatever the fuck's going on. They'll make up any excuse for it. You know.
But he was a rookie before we played him. Remember, he was one of the ones, an MVP. He didn't need nothing around him. You know, just let them Commander fans tell you that he's one of the ones. I mean, you know, before he was a rookie, because we exposed him as a rookie. You know, Fangio said, oh, we're not letting you. Like, I feel like this is how you stop Jaden Daniels is you take away his RPO, you take away his run game, and you dare him to throw the ball. And I think he struggles with that because he hasn't seen every defensive scheme yet. And you know, I was telling Commander fans, I was clapping with the guys like PSN, shout to him, Protect Sports, and I was telling him, and he talked about we're going to drop 30 points on you. I'm like, is you hearing yourself right now? Like, are you serious right now? Like, and it's like I'm listening to them. I was like, you're not dropping 30 points. Like, let's actually have some facts behind when we talk. We can be hyped, but you talk about dropping 30 points in who? Philadelphia? Like, these Commander fans, like, they were hyped up the first game, and they're getting hyped in the second game, and I feel like it's going to be the same result. Like, I feel like hopefully their offense is a lot better because, like I said, I don't think Hurts played that great in that first game. But let's also remember, you know, since they went to injuries, well, we had Jalen Hurts who had dealt with a concussion, and he was hurt, for most of the game. Yet he played through it. So it was like, I don't want to hear about injuries.
Hurts played with he had a bad he had a bad shoulder in 22 at the end of the year. I mean, look what he was doing in that Super Bowl in 22. He had a bad shoulder. He got hurt in that remember that fucking Bears game? He got hurt that year.
Yeah.
And he was dealing with an
and
injury.
not to cut you off, I'm so glad AJ Brown is playing, man. I mean, AJ Brown just confirmed he's playing, so I'm excited, man. You know, his press conference, I'm excited, man. So that's good news.
Yeah,
because I was a little worried, like, ooh, is he going to be out? Because I don't know about you, but you know, we definitely need AJ Brown in this game. I think it's a big game for us, and to have him and Devontae Smith back, I mean, it's huge. And you saw, I mean, if this passing game can get better like it did last week, like I said, I think that there's no way in heck no team is going to beat us. Like, do I think a team can beat us? Absolutely, I do. But I think more likely we would shoot ourselves in the foot before a team beat us. Because if we play the way we should play, we can definitely put teams away. And you saw that versus the Steelers. And you've been saying, like, if we run the ball and we pass the ball and we do what we need to do, get those short passing going on, you know, this team's unstoppable. But it's like I feel like we try to go back to our ways, and it's like, why are you going back to this? Like you know, like we want to put Hurts out instead of on the center. We want to put him in shotgun. Well, he's not a shotgun quarterback. Yet we like to go back to that, and it's like just go back to the things that have been working for you. Run the ball and set up the pass. It's about game by inches. Not you don't need to be flashy. Flashy teams don't win championships. Good rounded teams both are with the running game and the passing game win championships. And I feel like the Eagles team just got to do what they got to do and be balanced. Just be balanced. Don't try to do anything, you know, over the top. As you would say, don't try to be too cute.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, yeah,
I think it'll be fine. So I got some more guests in here. Anything else you want to say, man? I agree,
no,
though.
I appreciate you been having me on, and no, I mean, I love your channel. I do watch your videos when I do get up in the morning because I have work from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and sometimes I don't get around to watching them into the next morning. So yeah, when I usually get up, I turn them on. And I say, "Oh, Joey Shay's about to rant." I see the your thumbnail, either you're angry or you're happy or something like that. So I mean, you know, you keep it real, and that's why I respect it. You know, there's a lot of consecrators who just, you know, they have the pom poms on, and they're afraid of saying stuff, and you're not, and you know, and that's what I respect because you know, there's going to be things that we don't want to hear, but at the end of the day, I mean, sometimes you gotta give the people what they don't want to hear, and unfortunately, you know. I like that about you. You keep it real, and you're not going to bullshit with nobody, and I respect that. You know.
Yeah, you know me for a long time. You know me for a long time. You know how I operate. So you know.
Oh yeah, remember I got mad at you with the Carson Wentz video. Now I like it now.
Yeah, I get it. All right, man. Thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Appreciate it. Go Birds. Flag or slide. Let's get that W, man.
Let's do it. Thanks, man. We got Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
Nothing much.
What's on your mind, man?
Nothing much. I just heard this the other day from a source. They're saying that Jalen Carter could be defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I saw that. I think I saw that news too. I think I saw that news as well. I mean, potentially. I mean, yeah. I don't know how many sacks does Carter have for the year right now. I don't even know.
4.5, but if you watch him on the field, he don't look like he has 4.5 sacks.
It's true. Yeah. I think it's been a different from last year to this year. I think he's like his motor has been so much like through the first quarter to the fourth quarter, he's just constant. He's just constantly, and he's become one of my favorite players because he could get under anybody's skin. And like that's why, like even earlier in the year when he was trolling the Saints, and he pisses so many guys off. I love him for that. I think he had a bonehead play. He had a bonehead play on the penalty last week on I think it was punt return or whatever it was. So I mean, I honestly cared, but I was like, you know what, like if he's got a reason for it for some reason, then great. I think he's been. A lot of these players don't get a lot of respect for the pressures or hurries that they get. Like they want to see sack numbers, but I mean, if he was able to get that without a lot of sacks, and obviously, I think what affects that is, if our edge rushers aren't producing in a game, you have Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter getting double teamed, kind of getting taken out of the play if the edge rushers aren't really getting any production. But when they do get production, and if they had, obviously you're looking for. Next year, you're looking for a better, an apex predator type edge rusher next year, like a TJ Watt, or if they drafted an Aiden Hutchinson type player, it's going to turn around very quickly, like even better than it is this year. So
I gotta say this one thing though about Washington. This is who I'll compare them to. They're what you call a fake Rolex.
Right.
You can beat the teams that are shit, but you can't beat the teams that are going to be contending.
Yeah, it's true. Like it makes me sick. Like every time if I'm watching Washington before or after a game or something like that, and they're playing against like a 3-4 win team, and like Terry McLaurin is just like getting these easy touchdowns every game, and like they're making things look so easy. It pisses me off that nobody can like beat that team. I mean, Dallas did us a favor, but I mean, other than that, they've been beating on everybody else. I mean, that is legit. Legit, Washington has not beat anybody. Like, has not beat a good team this year. They haven't done nothing. They've done nothing this year. You know what I mean? Going in the right direction, yeah, I guess. But I mean, they really haven't. They haven't done much.
I don't want to lie, but when I see Jalen Carter, you know who I see a little bit of?
Who you see?
I see a little bit of. This is an old guy, but I see a little bit of Mean Joe Green.
And my dad would know him really well. He's talk about him. And
but I see a lot like Sills says, a lot of Jerome Brown.
Yeah, there are a lot of people say that too. Yeah, 500 said that too about him. Yeah, I mean he's just a force, man. You had Fletcher Cox that was here for a long time. That wasn't really like, he lead by example. He wasn't really the biggest trash talker. Really didn't do much, and didn't really, if he had to if he needed to have some pushback in a game, then he would do it. But realistically, like Carter is just a menace. It's just, yeah, it's that man's gonna get paid a lot of money. That's all I gotta say. He'll be the highest paid DT. There's no doubt.
But the good thing, when Carter gets paid, we're going to have a lot of that money come off the books with Bradbury and Slay.
Yeah, I mean, that's what like, I don't know the whole situation with that right now. I mean, if that's the case, then great. Then, if that, and obviously the cap's going up every single year on top of it. So realistically, like, you're going into this March free agency, don't expect a lot to happen, just because our free agency this season is going to be Becton. It's going to be Zach Bond, and whatever they want to do with Sweat, whatever they want to do with Milton Williams, whatever they want to do with Isaiah Rodgers is really up to them going forward. So, I don't know what's going on with the Bradbury. I feel like we haven't talked about it so damn long. I haven't talked about that guy once in weeks. And doesn't deserve a roster spot. They better not give him a roster spot. But
there's another person I would not give another roster spot for next year.
Can I guess?
Let's just say he's someone that's always hurt in the secondary.
Avonte Maddox, baby.
big old pinky toe every freaking time.
Yeah, he's only on a 1 year this year, so he's technically a free agent after this year. So we're not he's not even on contract next year, which is good. So they need more depth at that inside corner position. There's no doubt about that. They definitely do.
Now, me personally, what I would do next year depends what we're picking.
Mm-hmm.
I would trade back and get some more extra 2s and 3s.
Not a bad idea.
Because, like you say, we're going to be picking more than likely picking at the end of the draft next year, us being a playoff team.
Yeah.
Well, it depends who goes. If there's someone decent there, depends on what Vic wants.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if like obviously last year's draft was like it never happens. I mean, 14, 15 offensive players taken off the board. I mean, that's like in straight picks. I mean, that's never going to happen. I mean, every year we always figure, it's the draft is going to go this way, and it never does. But we pretty much got 2 first-round talents. I mean, obviously with Cooper DeJean should have been a first-round talent. I mean, you had to jump to Green Bay to get him. But next year, though, yeah, I think edge rushers considered. But if they feel like someone's gonna slide, into the second day, then sure, moving back isn't a bad thing, and getting more picks for the second, third rounds, I don't see why not.
But when I see Nolan Smith, he kind of reminds me of the guy that's in New York.
Who?
I can't think of his name. He's not the stars for the Giants. He's the rotational guy. I think it's he's Ojolari.
He's got a weird name. Yeah, he's a free agent after this year. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Now, I think this is what happened last year. This is just me.
Okay.
What happened last year, what screwed the whole thing up is when we moved from the side of Patricia, that's what screwed the whole defense up.
True, I believe that. Yeah, I mean, you're only giving up because with Desai, you're only giving up like 20, 22 points a game, and you're giving up 28 plus with Patricia. Yeah, it was horrible. That was the worst decision they made. Worst decision they made.
Yeah, but there's first round. You know who I want personally? I want revenge. I want the Bucks.
Oh yeah.
Well, if we play them, because that conference, that division's probably going to have one winner.
Yeah, a lot of Eagle fans have expressed on social media that they wouldn't want to face Tampa just because they feel like they have our number at this point.
But this is how I feel this year. We had a lot of guys. We had Lane out, we had Smitty out, and we had AJ.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now with us coming back healthy, and now they got injured, I think we'll favor more us.
Yeah, well, on top of all that in that game, I mean, even though your defense was playing so far off the ball at that point, and Cooper DeJean wasn't even in that defense full time yet, and if you're out AJ and Devontae Smith, like you got to get someone else involved, and they got nobody else involved. I mean, at this point, Jahan Dotson, I don't know. It looks like a bad trade. I don't even know what to say about it anymore. I don't even know why he's here, why they gave up the picks for him. I don't get that whole trade. So yeah, you want to keep both those guys healthy. That's going to be really important, obviously. So,
like I mentioned last time was on, the kid from Texas A&M, it's not Scorton, it's the other guy. His name is Sherman Stewart.
Okay.
Texas A&M's got 2 guys going in the first round next year.
You're talking at edge?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be looking at a lot of stuff. I think in the next few weeks, I'll be looking at a lot more stuff. Because I'll be looking close at edge. I'll be looking close at tight end. I'll be looking close at offensive line. Obviously, they're gonna draft an offensive line in the first few rounds. Somebody's gonna get drafted. Cornerbacks down the road. I don't think they're not going to draft that high. If you're looking at depth, depending what they do at number 2, I don't know what they're going to do at number 2. When Slay leaves, Quignon becomes the number 1, and if they sign Isaiah Rodgers, not really sure about that. So we'll see, but it'll be a lot to talk about, though, no doubt. We'll be busy.
if you perfectly think about it, there's already no team that could probably stop us other than the Lions this year in our conference.
I agree. You know, if that
Joey,
team could hold, if they can hold up the next few weeks, if they get no more injuries on their offense, and you know they're on like a really thin line now, like they're holding on offensively, they can still score points offensively, and on their defense, they've accumulated a lot of injuries. I don't know how much it is, like 17, 18 on IR. I mean, it's insane the injuries they have.
hey, Joey, is it me or do you notice that it looks like the Chiefs are like tired, like they're worn out?
They, I think
Like from doing running for because this is their 3-period. I've seen a lot of teams over the years. Once they get to their 3, they usually look like they're tired or worn out.
yeah, their defense has really held up all year. Defense has been pretty good. Offensively, they've definitely struggled a lot in a lot of games. They're getting praised for a lot of these close, ugly games that kind of reminds me of us last year in 2023. Um, I don't mind a rematch. I think if the Bills and I think whether it's going to be Ravens, Bills, I think either of those teams might beat KC out. I think the Bills obviously have a bigger. I think they have a bigger advantage going into a game like that. And I feel comfortable with this team in the NFC. I don't think I think we're the best team. I think we're the most complete team, and I think I think our ceiling is the Super Bowl. I really do.
I'm not gonna lie. When I see our team this year, it kind of reminds me of the Seahawks teams that won the Super Bowls.
That's a good call, man. Leisure Boom, man. Hell yeah. I mean,
because they had a great defense and they had Marshawn Lynch. We have a good defense this year, and we got Saquon.
Yeah, except we're not getting picks. That's about it. That's probably the only difference I have when it comes to the Legion of Boom and this secondary. We can't catch anything unless it's a safety catching it, and that's about it. So
I'm not gonna lie. I see. Why does it always seem like we have so much trouble with the Bucks?
Look, I mean, I think in that wild card game a few years ago, I think we had injuries. Miles Sanders played really bad in that game. I think offensively they didn't look great either. I mean, there was just bad play calling that game. That game was over in like 10 minutes. I mean, it wasn't great. I mean, I think we've always been at our weakest every time we have faced them, but I think going to our third time around, I think we'll be good. I think we'll be ready, and I'm not really worried about it, honestly. I think they have enough to. This defense is playing at the highest level they could play at right now. I think they can even play better at this point, and this offense is on another level too. So,
yeah, I'm not. If you want me to be honest, when we had draft day earlier this year, I did not like the Mitchell pick because it kind of worried me because he came from Toledo.
Yeah, and Nick Sirianni's roommate was the head coach, so that made me that. I think I fell in love with Quinyon. I think after seeing his Senior Bowl, his Senior Bowl was really good.
Because I wanted more Terran Arnold because he played against all these guys that were getting drafted. But now looking back at it, I would take a Mitchell over Arnold any day now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I look, I was happy with the Quinyon pick, and obviously Cooper DeJean was just a luxury at that point because the draft went in a totally different direction. Didn't land us in our lap, but we were able to move up in front of Green Bay and go get him. And the Eagles haven't drafted 2 corners straight like that since like the early 2000s. So they drafted 3 corners actually. I think in 2003, I think they did.
Yeah, 2002. Because I remember I was like 7 years old at the time when they drafted Lito Shepherd.
Right.
And I don't want to sound like the mean guy over here, but everyone gives credit for McNabb for all those championships we went to, but I think more credit goes to Brian Dawkins.
Yeah, he was the gel of the defense. I mean, really the whole team.
Because you think about it, he left in 08, and after 08, we didn't go back to any Anderson
Mm.
championship games till 17.
Yeah, then Malcolm Jenkins came along.
That's who I see a little bit of Cooper in.
Oh yeah, I think he could be a Swiss Army knife in Philadelphia. I think they could do even more with him. Not this year, obviously, because they have to keep him at the inside corner spot. It's a really hard position. It's a tough position. I think it's one of the most tough positions, on defense. Like, because unfortunately, like, nobody cross-trained at inside corner, like, besides Quinyon. Quinyon, thank God Isaiah Rodgers got hurt. Remember, Isaiah Rodgers got hurt before that first game against the Packers. He had a hand injury. Isaiah Rodgers was slated to start at the number 2 spot. And who knows, if he didn't get hurt, we probably would have been seeing Quinyon in the inside corner spot the whole year, which I think would have been the biggest mistake. So,
Yeah, I could see them moving DeJean to safety in the next few years.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're pretty much set in stone there. I mean, you have Reed for another year, and you have Chauncey for another couple years. Like, I think, I don't know, like, if even, Sidney Brown, like, I want him to have some type of part in this defense, but I don't know if, like, Fangio even likes him at this point. He's had 2 injuries this year, which hasn't really helped his case, but,
Yeah, I think the Nets, if we do make another move in the secondary, it's probably going to be someone playing strong safety.
yeah.
Because we got free safety. Because what I heard, Banjo liked Reed Blankenship a lot. So it's more the other safety, but it's not a huge need like edge rusher. So it will probably be some
No.
more like 3rd, 5th round maybe down the road.
Yeah. Hey, but any last words to say, man? We've got some other guests in the background, but I appreciate you coming in, though.
Here's my last word.
Okay.
Cowboy fans, go sit on a toilet for the next 4 years. You ain't going nowhere.
It might be true, man. Might be true.
Or my what I call Washington still to this day. You might as well call them the Washington Possum. Play dead at home and get killed on the road.
Yeah, that's true, too. That's totally true as well. But, all right, Kyle, thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it so much, man. We'll have more of these coming next few weeks. All right.
Bye.
Bye. We got Bang Bang. What's going on, man?
What's up, brother? Can you hear me?
I hear you.
So, we talked last week, if you remember,
Mm-hmm.
about the whole Jalen Hurts thing, and we both said that we know he can do it, right?
Yeah.
And he proved it
He did.
Sunday, but it's not good enough. It's because he's Jalen Hurts, so it's not good enough. If you've seen in the media, they're saying he's got to do it more than once and all this, and nothing is ever good enough with that guy. I mean, he can have a bad game, a good game, it don't matter. Like, they're gonna say what they say regardless.
Do you worry do you worry because of the drama, and the passing game they really had to incorporate last week? Do you think this was like a 1-game thing? Or do you think like this is really going to continue? Because a lot of Eagle fans have been like back and forth on it because, they want to prove they could pass, so they might not pass this much in the future. I don't know what your thoughts on that.
Honestly, I feel like they could do it whenever they want. Honestly,
Yeah.
I do think they need to be balanced still. I'm not saying come out and, throw, I don't know, 50 times a game, but
Yeah.
I mean, still keep it balanced, mixing the run, mixing the pass. I feel like they need to start their drives off that way, like mixing it up, like not just coming out pass, but maybe run a couple times to get the first drive started and then go from there and start mixing in the pass some more. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I mean, you went to the short passing game, which that's what I wanted them to do. I mean, look, you got Calcaterra in one play across the 50-yard line, which was great. Got him involved. I mean, some up tempo stuff. I mean, you look, it worked. Like, you let these receivers work for their yards, and look, if the defense is playing off, dump it. You know what I mean? Like, don't make it hard for this. Make it simple. It's that you have so many weapons that there is no excuse and to play like that, where you have these long developing plays, and for this quarterback to hold on to the ball. And maybe we want to see, if the Eagles are throwing 70-yard bombs downfield, they're doing it way too much. The passing game's not going. You're wasting. You're never working up to those plays. You're never working up to them. It's always. I think they're keeping a lot in their back pocket too for the playoffs. I don't think they want to show everything. So you're going to have some things in your back pocket you'll bring to the playoffs that, like both teams that end up in a playoff game will end up taking some stuff out on the field that, people aren't going to notice, players won't notice, but I was fine with last week that's what I wanted, and they proved it. We know they could do it, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, I've never lost faith in that,
Mhm.
even though everybody else was freaking out, and I never lost faith in that. All I said was in that game we would have to throw more, and I was right.
Yeah.
Because I knew the Steelers have a good, run defense. So I knew we would have to throw it more, but it worked. We got the job done. Now we're on to the next game. But what drives me nuts, man, is all this stuff in the media, how they're saying, they're still talking about this AJ Brown drama thing. And it's like, dude, that's like 2 weeks ago.
God, Jesus Christ.
It's like they won't let it go. It's like they want to see this team fall apart. Like, that's how I feel anyway. Like they want to see us have drama. I mean, because that's what gets clicks, views, and everything like that. But I mean, I don't believe there's any drama. I don't believe there's, like I said, I don't think that was a big deal. He was just speaking on the passing game. If you watched his press conference or his interview, he's basically saying that it had nothing to do with the quarterback. It was just for the offense in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Hurts said the week like even the Panthers game, he said there's no synergy or synchronization, whatever. Like, no, there's not, because you're running the ball well this year, but like your passing game, or like we're happened to Kellen Moore-esque plays with the short passing game with motion tied to it and all this stuff. Like even early in the season, like they would cross a guy to run to two guys to free up the Dallas Goedert to get up. You know what I mean? Plays like that. I didn't really see that much post by. I didn't see that much of it. Our run game has been unstoppable. But like I'm saying, can this team really not pass? Or is it the coaching? Is it the route combination? So these guys are running downfield, and like by the time Hurts is like looking, he's like, all right, well, every time Hurts extends a play and he's gotta rip out of the pocket,
I think it's coaching, man, because if you notice in this past game, like we were talking about last week, to move Devontae Smith around more. Did you notice they were moving him around more last week?
I don't know if they did. They put him on the inside a few times last week.
Yeah, last week, and they did that same with they did it with AJ too. They had AJ in the slot. Did you see that? Where he was getting.
I saw Devontae Smith. I like I said, I'm doing multitasking a million things during games, so it's hard for me to look at every little thing. I've seen Devontae Smith on the inside. I didn't know if they put AJ on the inside. That's what I don't know.
Yeah. They put him in there a few times, and I like that. I was like, yeah, they're mixing it up. They're moving him around. I really like that. So if they could do more of that, that'll be great. And then also, how do you feel about the what Micah Parsons said? Did you see that?
Remind me again, because I read something, I just don't remember.
Where he was saying, like, basically, like they were asking him, who are you going for in this game? Coming up, because obviously if what is it? If Washington wins, they basically are eliminated or something like that. And he was saying basically he don't care, that he hopes that we lose regardless.
Somebody that's not somebody that literally has no focus on his own team, is worried about everybody else. And I mean, literally, he was out for a month. He came back and literally did fucking nothing when he came back. And He walked out of the stadium early. He walked before the game ends. He's either walking out of the game early. He's on the sideline, like literally panicking, like he's like just so struggling with himself that they're losing another game. Like his body, his posture, just like the way he carries himself. Like I don't know why Eagle fans have this infatuation for him to come to the Eagles, or like the Eagles would actually try to sign him. Or who the
Exactly.
fuck wants that guy? If they sign him, I'd probably be so pissed off if they did that.
I
Honestly,
couldn't deal with it, man. I
no.
couldn't deal with it. I mean, the way I look at it is winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners. So, I mean, if you want to break it down, that's basically what he's doing. He's a loser, so he's focusing on a team that's winning, something he can't do. So, but did you also see that Julian Edelman said that our issues are going to pop up in the playoffs? I don't know if you've seen that.
Why? What is going on, dude? Like, can we have a break? Like, what's going on, bro? Like, I see. This is like you guys I give you guys respect, because the only time I see stuff is when they pop up on a retweet or something like that, or I'm tagged in something. Other than that, I never go looking for this shit and listen to it, because I can't deal with it. I literally mentally can't deal with it.
Like, see, I see it on like Facebook. So like, you know how on Facebook, if you like click on something, then you'll start having more like related articles and things come through your feed. So it's like, so that's how I start seeing all this stuff. And plus, I'm in a lot of Eagles groups.
Okay.
So a lot of the fans are posting this stuff in the groups.
Right.
So I can see all of it. So obviously, if I see it, I'm like, I want to see what he said. You know what I mean? So it's like, I try not to pay attention to it, but it does seem like the media in general, just people just want to see us fall apart. Like we are literally one of the most hated teams, I feel like.
No, it's what it's gonna be, man. And trust me, there'll be excuse if they don't win. There'll be an excuse if they do win. It's they're gonna hear the noise, they're gonna block it out, and they're gonna focus. And that's all I want them to do. And I think they're laser focused. I never seen a team this focused. They are focused. And we just have to see how it goes, man. I think they, really, you beat Washington, you win a division, you already have a playoff berth waiting for you. Now it comes down to, where you're going to be seated, whether it's going to be on the road, whether it's going to be a home playoff game. I don't know. They have a week of rest. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But honestly, like, I'm not promising the first seed is going to come there, because honestly, like, if they have to rest guys the last week, then that's what you do. If you have injuries and whatever.
I just want so bad for this team to like win the whole thing, so we can just sit back and just laugh at everybody. Like really, that's what I want so bad.
Yeah, I agree, man.
I want this team to win the whole thing, because, I mean, well, like you said, even if we win the whole thing, it's not going to stop anything. Like people are going to still say Jalen could throw for 400 yards, 5 TDs in a Super Bowl, and they're going to be like, well, it's because of the weapons he has, or the line he has, or.
They don't respect his rushing touchdowns, even though these other quarterbacks are throwing passing touchdowns that are amounting to the same amount of points. It's because he's not the most entertaining quarterback, and he's not throwing 70-yard bombs or extending plays for fucking 10 seconds and throwing stuff in the end zone. Like, it's all about, the NFL is all about entertainment, viewership, flash, and they don't look at Jalen Hurts as a flashy quarterback. He's getting the points in the most easiest way possible, and they just don't respect that. They don't respect the fucking Broly shove, but other teams have tried it. Other teams have failed at it. Shit, the Eagles have failed at it a few times this season. So, I mean, that's you would think that the less a quarterback has to do to have the record that they have right now, the more respect that he would get, but that's not the case. That's some fans like want to see more flash. The NFL wants to see more flash, and that's just how it is. Like, I'm tired of it. Like, I just want him to win a fucking bowl just to shut everybody up, and that's what I want. Like, I want this to be fucking over with.
Yeah,
in
man,
a positive
like
way.
You hit the nail on the head. You said it exactly. Basically, he does not win the way the critics want him to win. Is what it is. I don't care if he pushes 100 times. If he scores 100 times, I'm fine with it.
You can have Carson Wentz, fucking cannon arm, great fucking arm, have all of everything you have on extending plays and that fucking cannon he has. But man, the mentality,
The IQ, the football IQ.
The football IQ, the mentality, not taking any type of advice from coaches, like being handed off from the Eagles to two other franchise, not competing for a starting job, given an offense, two offenses, even a better offense with the Commanders at the time, and still couldn't do a damn thing. So
We're very lucky to have this guy.
because
I know
because
a lot
Hurts
of
is
people don't think
matured.
that.
Because he's
A lot of
matured early. Sorry,
you-
let me cut you off.
No, you're good. No, I was gonna say a lot. There's some people that like him, some people that don't. But we're very lucky to have him. Like very lucky because, I mean, the past 4 seasons, I mean, we've been in the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's got to be doing something right. I mean, it's not we're getting in without him. You know what I mean?
I was afraid to do a live stream call in last week because I was like, man, there's gonna be a lot of people coming in like hating on this quarterback, and I'm not gonna like it. Like I am open to opinions, but man, and I was shocked, and like I was really shocked at how many people came on the channel to talk and say, I believe in Hurts, and it was nice because every time like that Panthers game was like. We did the shakedown that night. I think I was 25 minutes into that shakedown, and I wanted to get the fuck out of there because I just didn't want to hear it anymore. Like I was so fucking aggravated after that loss. Sorry, it's not a loss; it's a win. I keep saying it's a loss because every fucking buddy has made me
felt
believe.
like a loss.
Yes, they literally. I thought we lost the game. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, it's because I mean, in a way, I get it because the bar is set so high right now. So anything like that's a letdown. But it was just the off game, man. Even the defense looked half asleep in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the off game all around. So we had off games in 22. Remember, we lost to the Commanders.
The Lions can have an off game. I mean, these other teams can have off game. The Eagles have an off game. The world is crumbling. I mean, it's telling you, like,
dude, 10 games in a row. 10 games.
It's hard to do that. It's hard to do that. It's not easy doing that.
I mean, I'll take it, man. Like, yeah, it wasn't a pretty game. I don't care how it looks, really, as long as I'm like you. As long as it gets done, I'm okay with it. I mean, obviously, last year we won a lot of close games, but it felt different. It wasn't the same. Like, the defense last year was nowhere near what we have this year.
Yeah, I agree. It's night and day. You actually have a defense. Like, I've never felt so comfortable going on the road in the playoffs if we have to. Like, if we went on the road, I'd be perfectly fine. I would have no issue with it.
The majority of our games this year, a lot of them has been on the road, like in a row. Like, our home games has been split up so much that, like, we're used to playing on the road. Yeah. Honestly, I think we're built. I think we're built for it. I think we're ready for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not making any predictions or anything like that, but I feel like the sky's the limit for this team.
Yeah, I agree, dude. The optimism, the positivity, it's great. I mean, look, I'm positive, and everybody wants me to be negative. When I'm negative, everybody wants me to be positive. I don't even know, I can't cater to both sides. I just have to stick with what I think, what I see, and that's pretty much it. But I mean, that's it. I mean, you look at the end of this. I mean, look, compared to what the Lions have to deal with, obviously, the Vikings. And with the Eagles having a pretty favorable schedule now, we after this Washington game, we just have to wait and see what happens. We really need some teams to help us out. And I'm not going to put too much into it or be upset if we don't get first seed. Like, I'm not going to care because at the end of the day, they can still rest guys the last week. And if it comes down to the last week, then fuck, that's really going to be horrible. But you're hoping to get no injuries. So
yeah. I mean, we'll take it as it comes. But no, man. I just want to say. Another thing before I let you go is if all the fans listening to this, like, let number one do his job. Like, just relax. It's not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be pretty all the time, but have faith in him. He has not failed us yet. So, I mean, even last year, as bad as it was, we wouldn't have won none of those games without Jalen.
Even last year, he put the team on his back in a lot of games.
Last
season. I trust me. I know this.
So yeah, man, that's all I want to say. So I appreciate you having me on, brother, and we'll see what happens this weekend.
We will see, man. We'll have another talk next week. So hope to see you.
Oh, in this game, I was gonna say my prediction. I think Saquon's gonna go for $130.
I hope.
$130. That's what I'm saying. So if you have this call again, just remember I said $130.
If he can get the rushing title, go into the playoffs, win a Super Bowl on his birthday, hey, the Super Bowl's on his birthday. Yes.
Real quick before I get off here, the bad thing is though, which I know it's not really a huge deal, but let's say we don't get that number one seed. Well, I'm pretty sure you've already thought about this. We don't get the number one seed, and we do have to rest starters in the last game of the season, and that's the game he could break the record.
Yeah, it's really gonna be. I think honestly, like Nick will. I think Nick's been very open. I think he'll ask Saquon what he wants to do. I think that's gonna come. I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what if like he wants to rest the receivers? So like, what if you have less weapons with Saquon Barkley in the offense? Like, what if they're resting more guys in the offense? Like, I don't know. It's really, I don't know what's gonna happen. I have no idea. Like,
honestly, I feel like he's not the type of player to be like, yeah, I want to, put me in, or, I feel like he would rather, just like he came out of the game. What game was that? It was against the Giants, where he could have broke his record. And he came out of the game and was like, no, let the other guys eat. Like, I just feel like he's that type of player that if the other starters are resting, maybe he will come in for a little bit. I don't know, but I feel like it's not a big deal to him, I guess. I think he really wants to win the championship.
Yeah, I don't think he really cares. If he didn't care breaking his own single game rushing record against the Giants the first time around, when he was like, I forgot what it was. I don't know how many yards he was. I think it was like, I forgot how many yards he was away from, and he said, "Nah, let the other guys eat." Then, this Eric Dickerson rushing title is huge. It's huge though. Like, it's really hard to ignore, bro. It's not something you could just, I don't need to have this,
like it's I think it's like 40 years, right? The record
40.
Like 40.
Yeah.
So, it is a big deal. But
just imagine the story of, like, this will be like a big story in NFL films, like, years later, of what, if they can win a Super Bowl on top of breaking that record, like the story of Saquon Barkley, like, it's like something that we'll remember the rest of our lives. It's in Eagles history. It would be like, it'd be so memorable, But if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be like, damn, it's not going to ruin anything for me. It is what it is. Like, team
man, I
comes
want
first.
that Super Bowl bad, man.
I know.
Look, it'd be nice to say, yeah, my running back broke the all-time record, but at the same time, like, the Super Bowl, man, that's where it's at, dude. Like, we got to have that.
Yeah, I agree.
I told my wife when we played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, before the game, I said, "Oh man, I hope we win this game so I can get me a hat that says 2-time champs instead of just Super Bowl champs." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hopefully this year I can get that hat that says 2-time champs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, man, well, I'm gonna let you go, man. Everybody out there, just take it easy on Jalen, man. Let him work. Let him go to work. He's gonna do his thing, and we'll see where the chips fall.
That's it, man. And we'll be doing more of these next week and the week after. So hope to see you soon.
All right, brother. Thanks, man.
All right. No problem, man. You too, man.
Have a good Christmas.
You too. Have a good holiday, man.
All right. See you.
All right. Bye. Yes. Barkley do that all year, build him a statue. I probably agree with that. We got 131 in the chat. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the stream. It helps out tremendously. Yeah, we have time for one more call. If somebody wants to come in, we're going to do like one more. And that's it. So I'll do one more for about, 5 to 10 minutes. And I think we'll be good to go. So if anyone wants to pop in real quick on one last call, we'll be good. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. It's gonna be it's a big weekend. It's a big week. So as we get closer to the playoffs, we'll be doing more of these live call-ins. I think it's good for not just me, but I think for everybody else to kind of get their 2 cents in when it comes to this team and where we're at. So usually on Fridays we could do that. So which would be good. So I'll give it another minute. If no one's coming in, we'll just call it a night. We've already been on for 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 19 minutes so far. So hope everyone's enjoyed. Appreciate everybody that's been joining up today. Just remember, so we have the Shakedown podcast tomorrow night, and then we will have the live play-by-play of the Eagles versus Washington Commanders in Washington on Sunday. Post-game shakedown, early game, thank God, which is good. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know why Washington. We have. Oh, that's weird. All right. No. Let's see. 1-5. That's a running game for you. Defense will stop you in the first 3 quarters, but in the fourth quarter, runs that didn't work earlier will work in the fourth. So, yeah. I mean, did a good job. We'll see what Washington has on Sunday. We'll see what happens. Bro. I mean, regardless, like they shouldn't lose this game, but it's any given Sunday, But they shouldn't lose this game. Simple as that, That's where we're at. So, if no one else is coming in, we'll probably end this right here. All right, fellas, ladies and gents, that's gonna be it for tonight. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure to check out the Philly Shakedown merch. By the way, we have a big sale going on, so make sure to click the link in the description for all that. We have some new stuff coming out. We have a big promotion coming out for the playoffs. A buy one, get one free promotion coming soon. So we're going to have another big sale going on right before playoff time, and it should be pretty cool. So we'll unveil that to you when it's time to do that. And all right, guys, I will talk to you guys later. Love you all. And, we'll be back. Tomorrow for another stream. All right. You guys enjoy. Shake Squad up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.